Let's get it. Hello and welcome to day 5, the final day of PUBG Mobile Club Open. Of course, this is the regional finals that we're in the Pakistan region itself. And for that, it is Redo 5 Pro that I do have to thank. And joining me on the desk, of course, is going to be none other than Ocean Sharma once again.
Thank you very much. And yes, final day, 3 slots. The fight that has been just, moving up forward. It's been like, 32 teams have started off the journey, right, and then 11 moved forward. They had 5 other teams with themselves as well. And now it's like 14 teams just fighting out against each other on the final day. Just for one thing, and that is PMPL.
Exactly, the road certainly leads to the destination, and that's going to be PMPL, and for which, of course, there are 3 teams, as Ocean just mentioned, from the Pakistan region that, of course, we are going to get the answer to that question today. After the 4 games, move on to the Bangladesh region. Again, you have 3 teams coming in from them, as well as Nepal, but wildcard South Asia, that is where we had 2 teams, and those 2 teams have been confirmed.
We saw those.
Yep.
We saw those 2 teams, moving up forward. Seal and Seal 9, that's how the names are just out there, and those are the 2 teams that are going to be, just looking forward to these matches as well, because they want to see the rivals. Who are the 3 teams moving up forward? And talking about 3 teams, the podium finish matters.
Exactly, and along with the podium finish, of course, you will be getting into the PMPL season itself, but alongside that, there is also a massive prize pool, where you look at $29,200 set up for the entirety of this lobby. But in that, of course, you also have, well, again, the teams that have not been able to, move on into the 16, into the top teams as well, they will be part of that prize pool.
Yeah, exactly. You can see all the other different prize pools just coming up out here. As we just talked about this one, 29,200 on the line as the prize pool, but first gets 3,900. Second gets 2,300 and third gets $1,900 respectively.
Absolutely, and for that, of course, as we just said, there will be quite a lot of contestation today, because again, the fights are going to start off early off itself, where indeed you are going to be wanting to get that chicken dinner. But if not chicken dinner, you can certainly rely on them kills, because those kills are going to be giving you 1 point per kill.
Yeah, that's important, right? We'll be talking about the point structure, obviously, in a while. Just as you said, 1 point per kill, that matters.
Right.
The placement points matter with everything, because you know it, right? 13 to 16 gets you none. And when we talk about 13 to 16 getting none, that means 13 and 14, like 2 teams are not going to get anything. 8 to 12 gets you 1 point each. 1 point with a lot of kills, it's a good thing, but if you can get even more placement points with more and more kills, it's even better.
Exactly, and that's what these teams have been showcasing us again and again throughout the regional finals. Every single day there has been dominating players coming in, and again, you talk about that kill department, it is just on a supreme level from so many of these teams. But again, talking about the teams as well, let's of course get acquainted with the 14 teams that will be stepping into the lobby itself, where of course you have such amazing names, that from Magnus to, of course, so many teams that have just been fabulous throughout the season. But now, eventually, you are going to be looking at Team F4, Magnus, North Esports, and as you move on along, there will, of course, be, well, again, Portal Esports has been DQ'd, so that's going to be one team that we will not be looking at. But TUF, NFPSKY Sports, FreeStyle, Team H2E, followed by...
there are going to be other names as well, as we'll be just, looking forward and seeing them as well. StarXOPS, the Grounders, Zarar Esports, Team Bablu. Talking about all these teams, obviously they have showcased incredible, feat of strength in this particular, game in this week. Regicide, Stalwart Flex, and R3D. Talking about Stalwart as well, they are also, just in one of the top contenders in top 3, F4 in top 3. But it just comes down to one thing, that by the end of these 4 games, which team stays and which team does not make it. Because if you remember, if we talk about South Asia wildcard,
right,
1 point difference between
just
second and
1 point.
188, 187, 1 point difference. It creates a lot of difference. So if we just talk about this one as well, top 3, it's good. Fourth, the teams will have to just move forward.
Exactly, because again, you talk about the overall standings. In that, you have Team F4 right there. You've got Stalwart Flex, of course, in there. But as you move on along, there are so many of these teams that are so close that eventually that 1 point per kill is what can determine you getting into the top 3 or resulting in you dashing out.
Yeah, the eliminations and everything, because now, with every match, teams get eliminated, but after this, only 3 teams will remain after all the games. You can see 205 for F4, 165 for Stalwart, R3D 155, Magnus 150, TUF 143, NFPSKY 134. I'm calling NFPSKY in this one because they've had 3 chicken dinners. They can get one good chicken dinner, can actually get them to top 4, and then again slowly and slowly they can climb out at a good area. FreeStyle as well. Team S3, like for FreeStyle and Team S3, they need back-to-back good games.
Exactly. I mean, yesterday we saw some wonderful plays coming in from Team H2E. Indeed, doing so resulted in them getting on this top 8 position. But as you move on along, you of course have those few invited teams that a lot of expectations were placed upon, like for example Team Bablu. But eventually, the way the games have been going on for the team of Bablu have not worked out in their favor. But then again, I mean, you've got 4 games today, and 4 games could very well change and make your position jump all the way from either, I mean, 14th position also could very well jump all the way into the top 4, top 3.
But that's the thing, Like, talking about all the other teams, you can see from 9 to 14, the teams are out here. And these teams, you know, they can just go YOLO right from the first game. Try and gather as much points as you want. Try and go for one more thing, and that is, you know, increased price for yourself.
True.
These teams can go for that. And in that, maybe if you change your destiny, like suppose if a team is at like, what, 12, 13, 14, 19, anything, and you get in maybe top 5. You never know. It might just bring some change for you. Not top 5, top 8 probably, but then the price will also matters. Everything kind of just, you know, changes with everything. So it will be a good day for 3 teams for sure, whilst the others, yeah, they are going to get a lot of experience, and they will be, obviously every team will be happy by the end of the day for one thing, and that is they fought well. Just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And when it comes to fighting well, you have to start knocking down players. You have to not only knock them down, you have to convert them into crates and send them back into the lobby to be able to get that kill confirmed, because of course, when you knock it down, well, of course, you do get the damage going in your favor, but eventually that does not convert into a point. And eventually, of course, when you talk about that overall ranking, it is the point that is going to make or break your position into this final lobby.
Yeah, hopefully we will have to see, you know, what sort of the changes do the teams actually make for themselves when we'll be looking forward onto the games and everything. And trust me, it's going to be an incredible day and incredible games. As we know, you know how it is.
Right.
First game starts off with the Erangel, then we move on to Sanhok, then Miramar, and then Erangel. So talking about that as well once that's out of the window, because when we talk about everything just moving up forward, first Erangel determines your momentum.
Right.
Second Sanhok might just put up a break on it because it's a fast-paced game, and if you expect those speed breakers in between, it might change. Miramar, obviously those long range, the fights that have the pressure, and the final Erangel to seal the deal.
Absolutely. Now, sealing the deal, let's start off, of course, with game number 1 itself for the final day. It is, of course, going to be on Erangel. So let's get busy. Let's get the flight path on our screens, and doing so will result in telling us, well, what to expect from these teams and their drop locations.
Exactly. As we can see, starting out from the backside of Sosnovka military base, moving up forward to the sides of Mansion, Lipovka, Yasna. Those areas are going to be inside the game right now. Pochinki team wants to go there, they can. And talking about military base, I would love to see if the team actually goes here, because there are this area is a drop location for a few teams. But hey, it's the final day. Like, do you want some change or something? Well, Stalwart, they would be looking forward to going to their own house. That is kind of a good thing for them. TG going on to the Primos side. I want to see what happens to the team that goes to Georgopol, or maybe Severny, or maybe Zagar, like, because there are a few teams that just start from there. Like, how are they going to be planning this one?
Absolutely, because again, you talk about the Georgopol region, we know that Team Bablu ends up doing so quite a lot many times. But again, talk about that military base, every single time we've seen Stalwart as well as Zarar take on those positions, and the grounder, of course, making themselves comfortable towards the side of Primorsk. But for now, as you move on along, there will be a lot of eyes onto H2E as well, as the last game that they brought in yesterday was phenomenal as they get themselves acquainted towards Pochinki region. As of now, as we start off, this is looking phenomenal. But as of now, of course, all these teams are looking on to those comfortable drop locations, but where exactly is the zone going to be converted down towards? Where exactly is that first circle going to be shifting these teams down towards is going to be the question. And battle has started.
Talk about the circle, right? Again, the shelters for areas.
Every single time.
Every single time. It's kind of a generic circle right now. It's a brilliant circle to play against because, see, I mean, the players will be like, yeah, we've seen the circle. Right. But hey, you never know the curveball that your opponents are also reading the circles. So it becomes harder and harder every time for the teams to play the same circle. And that's the beauty of this game. That's the beauty of PMCO Pakistan. I would like to, just tell about this one. That's the beauty of the players' mindsets that they have to just, move forward with. And I would love to see what happens by the end of probably the first circle, because Zarar has to move inside, Stalwart has to move inside, NFP has to move inside, FS, and talking about TG, these teams have to. There will be, if there's a bold team, what they can do is move from the sides of Gatka, Hospital, Georgopol, and then contest Yasna from the north. That will be a brilliant move, because then you'll understand no team's behind you.
Exactly. You will have the perfect advantage of no team being behind you or to your 6, and that's exactly what you need, because again, you do not want to be looking at your back every single time. But once again, having said that, you always do need to keep a check of what's coming on behind you, because that is going to be very, very crucial when it comes to third-party situations. And right off the bat, we are looking at F4 right towards the prison region as of now. Khan moving on along with the entirety of his team, looking pretty comfortable with a decent amount of loot right off the bat. Level 2 setup looking really phenomenal for this guy for now. But as you move on along from one player to the other, you move on towards Milta region, where we've got R3G. Now, Regicide indeed has showcased some wonderful plays, but today is going to be the determining day, where all these teams, of course, are bringing in that A game and wonderful plays, but who will be crowned into the top 3?
Yeah, by the end of everything, that's where the question just, stays on its own self. You can see the teams just, just starting off their days on a decent journey road right now. As you can see, NES, they have a good area. Again, the school apartment split that the players actually do, they have that one for themselves. They gotta, stay away from the Rozox area, because obviously that hill, it's a good hill. But, again, if the fight come down to you, you would not want to take any unnecessary fights onto those areas, because it's important now. Now, every move, every movement, every momentum, it counts. It should be in your favor, because that matters.
Oh yes, it certainly does. And right here we're looking at North Esports, of course, making themselves comfortable towards the apartment and the school region, but right across that road is going to be R3D. Now, R3D, as this rotation coming in from the side of Amer, has, of course, given away the audio cues that there was a vehicle that has moved on towards the apartments, towards school region. So R3D will probably want to contest, or maybe want to look on to those early fights, but move on towards TUF. They are setting themselves up towards the farm region as of now, and this is looking really comfortable for Thor, because again, he's got a level 3 backpack. He has got a perfect level 3 vest right off the bat, and looking at his teammates, they are also looking pretty phenomenal with, again, a level 3 vest. Now, that is a good start for this team of TUF, and they have showcased some aggressive plays, but eventually, again, when it comes to the players that are not been able to perform, well, we move on towards Zarar. Zarar has been trying to showcase some dominating, perfect plays, but eventually, as this goes on along, it seems a little tough for Zarar to be able to somehow capitalize when it moves on down towards those final circles and those final contestations, where many times we've seen them get caught out into their rotations themselves, or many times when they do make up the rotations, they get third-partied, and that again is hopefully not going to be the case for today. Zarar needs to showcase a different level of play.
Yeah, that's true. Talking about Team Zarar, right? Just as you mentioned about in this one. So that team is good when it comes on, once they have their foot on the ground.
Yes.
After that, once they have that momentum slowly and steadily going, they can just, change the pace of the game for the other teams. When it just comes down to that, your every decision, one good, one bad, it balances out each and everything. So that's just one of the things. But Team Zarar is a brilliant team, no doubt in that. Now, about North Esports, another brilliant team. Like all the teams in this region, because me and Johnny have casted these teams right off the bat. So it's just one thing that we kind of know the way these players, would like to perform, and they perform to their core. It's
right.
like these all are brilliant players. You talk about one team, talk about all the lobby, talk about the entire lobbies out here. Every player, they know what's at stake right now. They know one mistake can be even a bad mistake for a longer run, so they would not want to do that. So let's talk about the teams and everything. Hopefully, today we are going to be in for good battles, and some changes, some mysterious changes that we might never expect. Like the curveballs might just come around and might just change everything.
Exactly, might just snap off the wings, or the wonderful turn of events for certain teams that are looking very comfortable on the top of that leaderboard. Because again, you talk about Magnus. Now, this team has also showcased aggressive plays throughout, but eventually, as you move along, this seems to be the case, because again, Magnus, Zarar, these teams have showcased some wonderful plays throughout the group stages, but as you move on along, it is going to be this final determining day that they have to convert whatever situation that they're in their favor, and that is what the determining thing is. Because again, as we just mentioned, top 3 teams in this lobby at the end of the day will be moving towards PMPL Season 3.
Yeah, I mean, the movement, it surely will be happening onto these areas. But hey, if we're just, talking about the way the teams are just trying to go for their rotations, obviously it's needed as of now. Obviously it should be happening as of now. And by the way, if we just, again, looking forward to the things that are happening in the Team Bablu, they have a good area for themselves. But then obviously they have to just, focus on the other teams if they come down. You remember yesterday when they were in Yasna and the fights were happening and all. So ups and downs, it kind of becomes a part and parcel of the game if we just talk about this one. But all the teams are looking really good, and Magnus sounds like it already. They want to contest a good area, because there's going to be a house, and yes, they are contesting a good this good house. One buggy is safe, I would say. I mean, Skeps has a safe area. Oreo's vehicle can be saved. It's just Weekend's bug. If you just see, that's just onto the backhand side. So if Weekend wants to just be the one to rotate first or last or something, he needs to keep that vehicle safe.
Exactly, and with that, of course, you move on towards the side of Team Bablu. They are, of course, set up towards the side of this perfect camp, because yesterday also we saw them exactly in Yasnaya region and they were looking phenomenal. Today also they seem to be wanting to hold that ground for themselves. As you move the conversation towards early rotations, you are looking at FreeStyle. Now FreeStyle is a perfectly aggressive team, have showcased perfect aggressive plays through and through every single game, but now is the determining thing, because yes, they are in the lobby, they are looking really phenomenal, but how exactly or where exactly are we to expect those early fights, that first blood coming in? Right now we're looking at, of course, Khatar right here from NFP, and he is going on along with his team, but move on towards FreeStyle once again. They are making that rotation. They are jumping across these hills to find themselves the compound that is going to make themselves comfortable, that they can call home. And for now, it is seemingly... well, they've got 4 players, they've got 4 different vehicles, but I can only see 3 as of now, and the other one probably is on a flanking angle.
Yeah, probably that will be happening. Well, you can hear the gunshots, right? And that is happening against Khatir. And obviously, the players have been spotted. And you can see Stalwart's players. They did make up an early rotation just to be inside the circle. And talking about the circle is going to take up a shift right now as of. And Fury Ups goes on. All right, well, R3D is taking up a fight onto the other side. And Stalwart's players have also been spotted down right now. So that's just one of the things. First blood coming into the hands of Anubis. And if this team knows how to start, they would like to end as well, because they are in top 3 right now. They don't want to lose that spot. That's the golden spot.
Exactly, the golden spot indeed. That is going to lead you towards the PMPL Season 3, and R3D, with phenomenal plays, have been able to bring in the first blood for themselves, and that is looking real good. Now with that, of course, in another minute, we are going to be looking at the circle taking a curveball. Right now, of course, Stalwart is the team that we are, of course, following along, and that team just brought in some early aggression towards the side of NFP. But along with that, NFP players are also going to be wanting to get in towards the circle itself, and for now, it's only 10 minutes in, and we're looking at bursts coming in from the side of Ash, NFP's Ash, and he is going to be trying to stop that rotation for the side of course, Stalwart. But will he be able to clutch any of those? Will he be able to knock any of those? For now, that is not the case.
He did try, though. He did try to take him down, the players out there. But look at this, NES Maxi. He is kind of in a tough situation. As R3D still, just once again now moving up forward. Bablu Pikachu, meanwhile, takes on fight against R3D. All right, R3D, they did take one down. But then the thing is, their player was also been taken down. As Team Bablu is onto a higher area. But the finish might not happen right now, because that was behind that. You could see that wall, right? So it was behind the wall, so finish cannot happen. But R3D, they got to beware. There's a team right behind them. And Team Bablu, if they want to go YOLO, this is the time. But the thing is, it's still the start. And now, the second circle's moving up.
Exactly. The second circle certainly has moved up. And along with that, those early shots coming in from the side of Bablu has given away their information. And R3D is going to be prepped and ready. And we're looking at Shaw right here, bringing in that perfect control of the Rectile towards the side of Bablu's team. And Bablu is out in the open. Of course, they have the cover of that hill working in their favor for now. And with that, R3D being the first blood killers, and along with that, they've also got another player of Northeast Sports. So they've got 2 points for now, looking like dominating, but as of now, they are going to be safe because the compound is theirs. Bablu is not wanting to retaliate with any of that. Move on towards F4. F4 have their crosshairs set up towards R3G, and Regicide again do have that information or not. As of now, it seems like Regicide is unknown and oblivious to the fact that F4 is right behind them onto that compound, onto that hill rather.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the areas, they kind of are just out there. As you talked about F4 Zarar, Myth meanwhile takes on Regicide's Nocto. And talking about the circle, it's moving a bit onto the sides in between Shelter, Potato Hill and School. So that's going to be one good clusteral area right now where the players are. But talking about Regicide, well, they need to revive their team. And that vehicle will be a good cover. I would say just be more onto the left-hand side, because that still is an open area. But well, Johnny, he will be reviving up Nocto right now. And there it is. Now it just comes down to one thing, going back. All right, so Johnny is safe and sound onto the area. Now comes on to the pressure is on Nocto as well to be out there. F4, again, a good area for themselves. But they got to watch out for the rotations that might just be happening onto the back end sides. It seems Zarar is also moving.
Exactly, Zarar certainly did fire onto the side of Regicide indeed, and were able to knock down the player. That was Nocto who took the damage, but eventually again F4 are looking onto the back end. Now Zarar knows that there is a team into the compound. F4 knows that there is a team onto the compound, and this is going to be a little bit troublesome because Regicide is going to be forced to take 2 fights simultaneously if F4 decides to take this compound for themselves, because F4 is onto the hill. Yes, they have that advantage, but they will want to get into a compound rather than being out in the open. But along with that, it is Zarar that is bringing in that early domination and early pressure towards Regicide. They have, of course, gotten that knock, but were not able to confirm that kill for themselves. For now, they will only be wanting to get that information from Regicide, and Regicide has decided to move away.
Yeah, they did. They did decide to move away from that area for themselves. But right now, just like you talked about Regicide, yeah. So the most important thing is if they can move away from one fight, which fight will they be moving up onto the other side? R3D is onto a good line for the circle, just like we were talking, right? School, Potato Hill, and Shelter. The circle just moves onto that cluster, onto that area right now. And talking about that area, NFPSKY, well, it sounded like his vehicle was almost stuck at that location, but now the player is moving up forward. FS respect trying to spot down one player, trying to take him down, but no. Well, that was in vain. But the spray was decent. It did do the damage to the vehicle. And talking about FS, they have a good area for themselves. Let's see if they can have good fights.
Exactly. For now, FreeStyle is looking comfortable, but with that, F4 did have their crosses towards Regicide indeed, and were able to knock one player down right there, is what we just noticed in the kill feed itself. But along with that, F4 is also going to be at the receiving end. Now, as this fight progresses along, Zarar is also over there in the compound, but they will have to make that rotation because these teams are going to have to move in towards the center of the circle.
Yeah, they definitely have to, just make up onto those rotations for the players, and that's up. But look at this, F4 Voltrex just trying to spot down the players. Regicide has just arrived onto their backyards. Let's see if they can, level up the playing field as they are in the dip right now, and their opponents are in a good house with good covers for themselves as of now. So one good spotting can actually take down one player. Meanwhile, Bablu Pikachu takes down H3 Harker, and he takes down Red as well. So Bablu Pikachu is taking up a good fight, and sounds like it. Like obviously the fights are happening in a decent way right now. F4 the players are still out here. Now all the players surviving. Let's see if Regicide can just retaliate. But will Team Bablu push? That's one question, because H3 I think was the last one surviving, and Team Bablu has pushed up right now. Pretty close to their opponents is where they are right as you can see. And Team Bablu, that is a good push out here. As you can see, Ati goes down. Bablu, Zabian takes him down, and now the grenades are being thrown down onto the other direction. However, he cannot be revived as of now. Dread, a good grenade thrown up already onto the outskirts of the area. Bablu Pikachu, if he actually rushes in, that would be a bad thing as of now. But the grenades are just out there, another grenade out in the open. Now the location has been confirmed and compromised, and by the looks of it, you can see a grenade inside Dread. Well, they go down. Bablu Pikachu gets his kill. Bablu Zibian gets the kills for himself. I mean, I've seen a few times Bablu Pikachu with his live streams and all on his channel. I would say the guy is practicing good. The way they actually wiped out the squad, you could understand, right? The calls, the synergy that's been building up. It's brilliant that it just kind of is showcasing out here.
Absolutely. I mean, that was just a perfect play. Being able to knock down two players and then be able to push on along from three different angles onto the compound was just perfect dominating play coming in from the side of course, Bablu. But eventually, of course, it is H2E that gets eliminated, the first squad to be sent back into the lobby. But along with that, we are looking at NFP for now, and NFP, as we look on towards the circle itself, are outside the circle, and that circle is again going to be taking a curveball in a matter of seconds, which will be the time that NFP will want to move from that compound that they call home right now. But along with that, Zarar looking really comfortable. Bablu have themselves fanned out into the circle itself. They need to combine their efforts together if they are to survive, because so many of these teams in a matter of seconds, as we just see, are going to be, well, getting into this bazaar, and this is going to be real trouble. So Magnus is in the receiving end, as F4 seems to be wanting to gatekeep this entry of Magnus, but eventually Magnus is going to be able to walk away, no problem at all.
Well, this just happened, but look at this, the way the players moving up forward onto the other side. F4, the players are just out here. They also want a part of the fight, and Magnus, it might just be a bad news for them, as Oreo will be finished down, but by whom? You can see a few shots just going up. NES Emmer, okay. See, you gotta finish early. Otherwise your kills. I mean, this is where kill stealing and kill taking out, something like that. I mean, F4 was trying, NES was trying. The points matter a lot.
Exactly, and North Esports just stealing that kill away. Along with that, it's not only a steal of kill, it is a steal of that point, and that point is what is the most essential when it comes to these games today. As we move and get busy into this fourth circle, Zarar, of course, is looking really comfortable in the circle itself, but Regicide, insane right here on this hill, onto the backside of Zarar, is probably wanting to get some information about the compound, and they have decided that, yes, there is going to be a team there, but they are not wanting to take on that fight right now. F4, again, was the team who was able to dish out damage towards Magnus, and has left Magnus with a 3-man army as Magnus made that rotation into the circle itself. But for now, of course, F4 looking comfortable with 2 points, slowly and steadily moving on along. But Where exactly is the circle going to be forcing these teams to go towards? We are looking at Stalwart on the other side as well as Zarar right here. That is looking pretty comfortable. Zarar Zigzag was dropped down and sent back into the lobby. They are also a 3-man army for now is what we can see. But this is going to be an interesting turn of events where, of course, Myth with a DP has the information towards Regicide or is probably wanting to get the information.
He saw the player just moving through the window line, right? He did see him. And now Triple Z, I mean, does he know that where the shots are coming from? That's important. We just want to talk about this one and look at Stalwart's players. Reviews, Blade and Crypto. They have a good area. They can take one down. That's a deal. They can take him down, though. But Joker right now uses a good grenade. And, one grenade takes on Joker onto the other side. He did try to take the other players down, but StarXOPS gets eliminated. R3D is on a roll.
Well, GG indeed. They certainly did throw a grenade, but in the receiving end did end up getting a grenade to the face as well, and eventually they go down. It is R3D's compound for the taking, but NFP are right behind them, and NFP are a 4-man army as of now with 2 strong kills. They are already looking pretty dominating as they bring on along their efforts with smoke walls being dished out. This is going to be a retaliation that R3D needs to be able to control, otherwise it is going to be an NFP retaliation that will probably work in their favor. It is, of course, well, R3D's Shaptar goes down. That was interesting, and that was TG Shaptar that brought down Virus of R3D for now.
Well, now talking about R3D and NFP, the rush had to happen. It's at the edge of the circle, so now it comes down to one thing, like which team is gonna, move away from this area first, or maybe alone, because the other team, it might just be a bad news for them. R3D, they did lose out on their one player, staying out in the open. It might just be a bad news, because there are going to be teams onto the other side as well. You can see Team Bablu still contesting the backside of the hill for themselves, but hey, Voltrix's grenade takes down FS Respect onto the direction of 5 TGs onto the backside as well, you can see, but Shot just out there, trying to spot on the player. He does spot down one, tries to take him down, but no. Onto the other side, he goes down. R3D surviving with one player, but for how long as NFPSKY actually just, takes up the game for themselves?
Absolutely, that was just a perfect play coming in from NFP, and indeed doing so, they have resulted in R3D going back and forcing them back into the lobby indeed is what this situation was. But move this conversation towards the side of F4, who have been out in the open for the longest time, have been wanting to convert those kills and those knocks into points, and that is what they're trying to do. But out in the open, Voltrix and Khan better be careful, because now is where third-party situations are going to be that much more evident.
Well, F4 Wolverine still just out, trying to spot on the players. Rarman takes on TF ESP and would want to finish him down, right? But he takes down Venom as well. So he's slowly and steadily taking down the players, but you can see Khan out here. He did spot down one player, but the revival or something, like, not revival, so like he should try and finish him down before the revival actually happens on them, but seems like Magnus is ready for a fight. They can actually just, take up the fight. They are, just taking down their own vehicle so that they get a good cover for themselves, but onto the other direction, we will just, like to see how the fight just change up with the pace and momentum, slowly and steadily. Team Bablu, the revivals are just coming in from this team as well. Let's see how the fight just, change up with everything, because now it's going to be the 5th circle. The damage is going to be catastrophic. You gotta move in if you gotta move in.
Exactly, and Bablu right now looking very strong with 5 kills to this team. This is looking phenomenal indeed, and with that, of course, Zarar being the grenadier right there, Professor being in control for the side of Zarar Esports indeed, and Bablu, they have a perfect situational awareness. They have the information for so many of these teams. They have been able to knock down 5 players, and not only knock them down, but send them back into the lobby. So 5 points looking really strong for Zarar right now, and they have the compound, they have the circle, and with that, NFP out in the open, getting eliminated at 10th spot.
Well, 9 teams remaining, 25 players still alive right now. The open area kind of just, contests with the brain of the players, like how are they thinking, how are they strategizing. There are a few ridges here and there, but hey, if you're using smokes and all, you might just be spotted. Talking about Team F4, talking about Stalwart, like they have smokes for themselves, but if they have to move forward, like how are they going to drive through all these and all those things? And yes, I mean, will take down Bablu Pega, and you can see the fight still happening. Zabian is out there, tries to spot down one. Oh, Snow was... He barely survived. I mean, he has a lot of HP, but had he stayed there, he could have been taken down. He barely survived in that case, and now Team Bablu, will they be focusing on rotations? Judging by the looks of it, look at this, how quickly they are looting, they are creating a proper area for themselves. They'll pick up more and more smokes, and then might as well just go for the rotation only.
Exactly, they certainly will have to do so, because the circle has moved away from that comfortable spot that Bablu was in, and right now looking at North Esports, having lost that one player, they are also looking pretty dominating as of now, because they have been able to knock and knock knock players of FreeStyle, and FreeStyle is out in the open right there because of that vehicle damage is going to be annihilating play for the side of course, FreeStyle. Now, Respect on the other side should be able to retaliate this early aggression coming in from NFPSKY Esports, but of course, for now, has not been able to spot the player that is going to be Avenger OP.
One more shot did connect to him onto the leg though, but well, it did not do anything else. Well, Zarar mid goes down by Regicide's Nocto as they are still taking a fight against their opponents, as we could just see. And now comes down the momentum and the movement, and the players will have to do that. You can see Stalwart Flex. Oh, they have been spotted down. The shots were coming out on them. F4 goes down, but well, Reviews goes down by Wolverine. So the fight's still happening between Stalwart and F4. Talk about first and second position teams just out there, you know, just taking a fight against each other. But hey, NES is just moving up forward right onto the same compound. Will this be good or bad for Team Bablu? As Team Bablu, now they know that the push has just arrived, but Snow gets taken down. One grenade of Zulka takes on F4 Khan, but onto the other side, Team Bablu eliminates another squad in the same compound. They are actually looking unpredictable today. What are they doing? Like, this gameplay should have come like 2 days earlier, and that would have been brilliant.
Well, GG indeed, that is what they are working towards, and they have been able to synergize their team altogether. But right now, as they get themselves away from the compound is where they've lost the safety net as well. And FreeStyle certainly saw that rotation coming in, and along with that, of course, they did, that is Bablu, did just send NFPSKY Esports team back into the lobby. But as this open fight now starts, we are looking at teams knocking down all across the board. Team F4, another team knocks down, and this is going to be Magnus's Weekend, who is in control of Stalwart, and the Grounder also being sent back into the lobby. With that, we've got 5 teams remaining for now.
5 teams, 14 players surviving. Well, Zulka gets spotted down. He does stand up, but he is out in the open. Might just be a bad thing. He gets knocked down, and now the kill confirmation. It's just one thing that should be happening. Who's going to get the kill? You can see Zulka, Stalwart's players actually take that kill for themselves. Every point matters, ladies and boys and girls. And now Zarar Professor is down. Met is on low HP. Or probably not anymore. Team Bablu has 10 kills with all the players surviving. I mean, this sounds like the Team Bablu that I have known and seen previously. Magnus, meanwhile, Weekend needs a revival right now. StarXOPS is out there. Adil's out there. Stalwart right onto the left-hand side. That is going to be a tricky affair. But Magnus, they know their gameplay. But Crypto takes down Adil as well. It's one player surviving. StarXOPS, can he just change the game? Stalwart, they have 2 players. One good grenade can actually change everything. But the circle is in the hands of Team Bablu right now.
Well, that is true. Certainly, Bablu is looking very strong with those 10 kills, and the circle working in their favor as well. Along with that, now they've got
12 kills or something, I guess, because they took down 2 knock players. They had 10 kills first, they took down 2 knock players.
Yes.
That was something. They had 12 kills for themselves. Look at the barricade of vehicles that this team is creating. Look at the barricade of vehicles. This is something incredible Team Bablu is doing up right now. 12 kills. Another vehicle comes for the save, comes for the aid. 8 players alive. 2 versus 1 versus 1 versus 4.
Yep, and that 4 is, of course, in the name of Bablu. And Bablu are dominating this first game right now. Of course, Stalwart, as they make this rotation into the circle, are going to be out in the open. And, of course, Respect, if he wanted to retaliate, he could have very well. But there were, of course, grenades coming in, along with that Blade on a very low HP. And, of course, is getting a knock again from Bablu. And Bablu convert that into a kill. 13 kills for this team. They are looking for that chicken dinner.
4v1v1. Well, Respect goes down by the play zone. It's a 4v1v1 situation. Crypto's on to the other side and StarXOPS as well. I mean, Bablu cannot lose this, come what may. Bablu, previously they have owned Miramar a lot of time. This time they are starting off with the Erangel owning first game of the final day. As you can see, the players are moving up forward. Like, will StarXOPS change something? But StarXOPS gets shot down from the other side, and on to the other side. Pika ends it up as Team Bablu gets that winner chicken dinner for themselves.
Perfect play coming in from Team Bablu indeed. With that, they've moved on to 9th position with 14 kills. Just perfect dominating play. 27-22 total damage. I mean, beautiful turnover wins for this team. And eventually, of course, the circle favored them, the rotation favored them. And boy, oh boy, this is the Bablu that I believe everybody's missed.
Yeah, everybody missed this. I'm telling you, had this performance been like 2 days back or something, Team Bablu would have been in like top 5 for sure. Like maybe at 3rd, maybe at 4th, maybe at 5th, maybe at 2nd, maybe at 1st, something like that. But they would have been out there. And talking about the MVP Bablu Pika, I was telling you, I told you, right? The way this guy has been grinding, practicing in live streams and all, it's working out right now. 4 kills, 1000 plus damage coming out here, 298 healing done, and the team was brilliant today.
They were just perfectly dominating the lobby today, no question about it. And what a perfect turn of events, because again, this team has now moved on to that perfect 9th position, and again, 2 more good games, and we could be looking at Team Bablu joining in and chiming into those top 3. But with that, we to talk about the match summary. You've got all 4 players of Bablu doing one thing or the other. We've got Pico with maximum assist, we've got Zibyan from Bablu again taking that longest distance travel, Pikau once again with highest damage dealt, and Triple Z. That was just perfect play from Triple Z again with 5 kills.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bablu Pika as well, incredible numbers for himself in everything. Bablu, Triple Z was just out there. Stalwart's Blade. I mean, he was the last one surviving out there, and he also tried, to take up good fights for the team, and that was brilliant. So talking about all these, and Magnus Esports. I mean, that guy always stays alive till the end of his team, and he tries to change the game. That's brilliant by Magnus Esports and his survival tactics. I mean, he is incredible. He's an amazing player.
Absolutely. I mean, Magnus, we've seen that team again and again and again convert so many interesting situations in their favor. He was the last man surviving, but again, were able to bring in 2 kills, and those placement points bring that Magnus's play to 4th, of course, for this match. But it was Team Bablu that just outshone everybody else with 14 kills and 29 points. This is phenomenal play. Of course, along with that, you talk about consistency. Stalwart is right there on the 2nd spot with another wonderful turnover win for themselves.
Exactly, but talking about H2 and StarXOPS, they did not get any points in this particular game. Talking about TUF, Regicide, I mean, the teams did try to get the fights in their favor. That did not work out here. Team F4, I mean, this team had a really good area, but, getting stuck out in the open, that kind of just changed the pace of the game. But, well, the team is at the top. I would want to see, can they actually hold that position? They will definitely, for sure, would try to hold that top position for them. So, obviously, that team is an incredible team. But talking about the players and talking about the damage graph that these teams have done, we know Team Bablu, right? 2700 plus damage. Talking about the second one, it was by F4. Then comes down NFPSKY Esports. Then talk about Stalwart. So many teams did quite a good number of damage for themselves.
Exactly, and along with those damages, they've brought in kills as well, and that is of course going to be working in their favor when it comes to the overall standings itself. But that was first game done. 3 more games remain. I mean, just beautiful turn of events for the side of course Team Bablu. Stalwart just remaining in that top 3 as of now, because again, that was just perfect moments for them. And talking about those moments, let's move on to the Oppo moments themselves.
Let's move on to the Oppo moments. This is where the first fight was just, happening when R3D took up a fight against NES, and obviously Team Bablu was out there, just taking a fight against H2E. I mean, this was the push that started off the momentum of this team, and they never let it go. R3D, once the fight did happen, and they tried to take up another fight, they took this fight, but then NES straight away just arrives onto their direction, takes down 2 players, and then last one surviving. It was a different story. Talking about this one, FL, and they were stuck out there onto the areas where they thought they were good, but things kind of just went up and down onto them, and the game just changed.
Exactly. I mean, NFPSKY Esports player was able to knock down players of FS for the longest time, but were not able to convert that into a kill, and that resulted in not getting them enough points that they would have wanted from that position. But eventually, again, that is just the first game done. With that, Team F4 still maintaining that lead, and Stalwart Flex very close to them, but it is going to be quite an interesting turn of events, because now Magnus's play has brought them up to 3rd.
Magnus, I mean, talking about this team, they are in top 3 right now. R3D was in top 3, and now they have gone down 162-159. Stalwart, they need another good game. They can obviously, contest F4 as well. Team Bablu 117 with this 1 chicken dinner. I mean, comeback, is it too late? That's my question right now, because obviously team played perfectly, but is it too late? That's just the only thing. Otherwise, this team has been brilliant, is brilliant, will always be brilliant. But today, 1 game, 1 chicken dinner. What are the next games like holding up for this team? That's my question.
Absolutely, because again, I mean, we've seen teams bring in a single day 2 chicken dinners, 3 chicken dinners as well at times. So again, that is not out of the picture, not out of the question. But will Bablu be able to, retaliate against the entirety of the lobby in that same fashion and that same force to be able to move on along? Because again, even if you don't reach that top 3, you are moving on along onto the overall leaderboard, and that is going to give you that much more lump sum of the prize pool. With that, we're going to go on a very short break, after which, of course, we will be coming to you with Sanhok.
Because you're everything I let's get it.
Hello and welcome back once again to, of course, the second game of the final day, where indeed we are in the Pakistan region, PMCO. That is, of course, Sanhok time. So let's get busy with Sanhok. Let's quickly go on with the flight and find out where is this flight path going to be leading these players today.
Exactly. We started from Hearth and we moved down to Docks area as well. Cave, Quarry, Boot Camp are going to be good areas right now. Python Camp, Charlie Kampong if the teams want to go out there. Paradise Resort as well. And... we were talking about previous Erangel.
Right.
That was the second last Erangel of the day, right?
Right.
But this is the last Sanhok, the first and the last. Then comes on the first and the last Miramar. So I would love to see if someone, for the last Sanhok, just changes up their strategy.
Well, talk about change of strategy. We're looking at StarXOPS joining in with only 3 players this time around. So a 3-man squad coming in from that team. But eventually, as you move the conversation towards the drop locations themselves, we are looking at a comfortable TUF that has made their position towards the western side of that Camp Alpha for now is what we are looking at, and on towards Cow, that is where StarX always goes, and that is the 3-man squad that I was talking about towards north. That is what they are comfortable with. Talk about NFP looking pretty confident and comfortable towards the side of Paradise Resort, but eventually along with that, NES is also right there. Move on towards the southern part of the map. You're looking at FS, who always does go towards Docks, and Magnus this time around is outside and is going towards Shami.
Yeah, I mean, they have those areas for themselves. We're just, going to talk about this one. But now the most important thing just, gets up is no one's in the central area, the most important area, boot camp. Like, no one just wanted to be out there. Everyone's like, maybe a few teams might just come to contest my location, and then no one just landed out there.
Exactly, and right here it seems like Destroyer from F4 seems to have had a bit of a situation with his parachute, as he seems to be a bit far away from his team, and R3G are certainly right around the corner. With that, of course, F4 Destroyer making a push towards his teammates right now, just running across with a little bit of helmet that he was able to get, a little bit of pan also, so he's got some cover for right there if at all R3G ends up firing onto him.
That's just one thing that, if that happens, right? That's what we're talking about. But right now, you can see F4's players, they are just trying to find out a good area for themselves. And yes, they will. Like, a good loot and good area. That's kind of just, comes to this one right now. So, this is just one thing. But now talking about F4 just, moving up onto their momentum and forward, the most important thing is how will their rotations work? Because their previous game, it was decent. Not so good, though. But if we're talking about this one, Stalwart Flex, Blade. Does he know? Or does he know? He does not know, but still brilliant.
Yep,
Blade, still brilliant.
That was perfect. I mean, again, the kind of reflexes coming in from Blade were phenomenal, even though he was just running along. But eventually, he just noticed the head of H2, and eventually, it is the first blood right off the bat. In 3 minutes, not even 3 minutes in the game, we are bringing in first blood coming in from Blade, and that is, of course, thanks to Stalwart.
I mean, think about this. Had the player just been even out, Crypto would have taken him down from an off angle. So
true.
It was kind of, just the situation demanded for it. Just, see someone, just shoot him out. That was the situation that was demanding it. But now, talking about this, you could see the circle has started up its movement as well, as we can just, see about that one, the blue zone. So now comes on again the tricky thing, the tricky part, the thing to see and to check. Where will you go? What will you do? How will you be playing this game as well? So that's just one thing. Talking about QBC. It's obviously Sanhok specific gun as what Blade actually has.
Yep.
So it's a brilliant gun. It's obviously the Scarl's replacement for this particular map, as we just want to talk about. So, and that also comes on. For some players, M4 still remains their comfort zone, whilst the others wants to just, use this gun or something. Like, so things kind of change when you talk about using which gun, how should you use it, what should you do. So that kind of just, creates a lot of differences when you talk about the players and the comfort zones.
Exactly. That comfort zone is where you need to find yourself in when you're playing this game, because again, that is what will lead your team towards that victorious moments that are going to be, of course, based on how comfortable you are with, well, what exact loot and what setup do you have running around the map of Sanhok. Now, with that, we move on towards the chicken dinner team, Team Bablu. Right now, it is Triple Z who is looking onto a off angle and is on top of that hill. But as of now, they are being, again, one with the nature, so to say, and being a snail. But shouldn't they actually be rotating? I do want to find exactly where in the map are they when it comes to the circle. Where exactly are they? Because there ought to be a lot of teams around
inside,
them.
Though. They are inside the zone. That's one thing for sure. But yeah, just like you said. So, I mean, it might just be a good area, might not be a good area. We will still, just see through it. How is it going to be just, working around onto this one? As you can see the circle. We can see the circle. All right. we can see the circle just out here, and that's where Team Bablu is, right from the backside of Final. That means they are inside the circle, not in the center lines though. But look at F4, brilliant bold move. Taking the center of the zone already for the first circle, taking the center of the circle already, that's a good one. That's a good one. And they are contesting boot camp.
Exactly. They already have that entire region to themselves. But talk about H2E, the first blood that we saw. They are outside the circle as of now, and we have the first airdrop dropping in with an AUG set up in there. That's going to be phenomenal for whatever team, whatever player ends up getting their hands on this. Right now, of course, it is going towards the side of Bablu itself, so that's going to be even more phenomenal for this team because that's that much more firepower that they can actually control and mesmerize their other players with. But that's what I was talking about, H2E on towards the cave right now, making their rotation inside. But that was that first blood that we've noticed, and that, again, he was so far away from his teammates, and eventually, of course, it was Stalwart that brought that first blood.
Well, yes, that did happen. And we saw bootcamp, right? We were talking about F4
right.
a while back. I would tell you one good thing about bootcamp is, suppose if a fight happens, right?
Okay.
And you actually wipe out an entire squad. The fights are so tricky in bootcamp that you will eventually lose one or two players. There are really less number of like perfect fights that happen on bootcamp. We're talking about this one. You can see FSI and taking down S2's Harker. So S2, they are just out there. Still, they are being spotted down, and S2 might be in a bad spot right now. As Ati is also on low HP. Jigsaw has been spotted down. Respect has a good grenade onto his own hands. Let's see if this grenade actually just does damage or something up right now. Well, Jigsaw goes down again. S2 is down with two players. Ati is the last one surviving out in the situation out here. So FS might just get these 3 kills for themselves, and obviously they'll get the area inside the circle.
Exactly. I mean, H2 was certainly trying to, well, hold that ground, but eventually were not able to do so, and FS's push has genuinely worked in FS's favor. Now again, H2 were already one-man short, but in this entire retaliation, FS's player have been perfectly setting themselves up for this. Zulkar is in the back. Zulkar is going to be able to bring that conversation to his favor or not, because eventually, yes, he does. Even though FS did get 2 knocks, they will be revived, and all 4 players will be moving on along. Along with that, we get the first team for this game that has been sent back into the lobby for now, and that's going to be H2E.
Yeah, talking about H2E, they thought that the fight would have been good, and it tried though. The team actually tried pretty decent for themselves, but somehow those ups and downs that did just happen. If we just talk about this one, but onto the other direction, you can see the players just out there and the circles movement with everything. Slowly and steadily, it will be just moving forward again and again. I would love to see a circle just contesting some island or something that can change everything all around, but those are rare circles. Imagine the circle happens into the middle island or something, but those are rare. Those are pretty rare circles.
Exactly. That certainly is going to be rare, but that's going to be phenomenal to be able to see and cast. But with that, we move on towards R3D, and it is StarX. That is not looking good. We have a perfect buggy that is being saved. Exactly.
Perfect parking. That's nice. I mean, that's giving respect to your vehicle as well. Just park it with the obviously, because you need those vehicles. You don't want some damage to happen onto those. And that's one thing. But talking about StarXOPS, sounds like they are in a bit of trouble. Obviously, the revive is just coming in, but once the player gets revived, they have to look forward to the other player who used that buggy to go for a perfect flank angle.
Absolutely, and it is going to be StarX right now who are going to want to walk away from the situation with all 3 members alive, because this team did join the lobby with only 3-man squad, and right now they are not looking too good. Of course, the smokes are being popped, and they will move on towards the back end, but as they do so, there is the perfect annihilating play coming in from that flank angle approach, and this is going to be a troublesome situation for MKOps, because eventually it is, of course, MKOps who was trying to get that smoke working in his favor, but eventually were not able to do so, and R3D are in control with 2 players knocked. They are being squeezed into that small little house. It's just a few more utilities, and it might be the demise of StarX for now.
Well, they have a good area for themselves, talking about R3D, but the StarXOPS, yeah, they'll have to just look forward to everything, because Anubis takes on another one. That's going to be MK. It's going down right now. So that's just one thing. And look at R3D. I mean, that perfect angle that Joker actually made, that was brilliant. That was actually a good move. Like predicting the future already, that was brilliant. But onto the other side, Jin God, he does not want to give up this easy. He's taking on the fights onto his own self, and this is where you can see the confirmations are arriving. But hey, right from the back inside, that's where Joker was. No one still expected it. Just like I was saying, this guy was thinking of the future already when he started off that rotation. Oh, Crypto, he spots down one, but he has been spotted down as well.
Akbul right here from the team Grounder is certainly known of that information of Stalwart, but eventually will they be able to retaliate against them? And talking about the R3D push, I mean, they did end up losing one player in that, and that I don't think, I genuinely don't think was necessary. They could have very well utilized grenades and popped them along rather than having to lose that one player, but eventually, of course, they did send StarX back into the lobby, and with that, it is TG Shaptar right now that has already been sent back into the lobby, thus remaining 3 players for the Grounders. Now, the Grounders have not had a decent outing thus far as they move away from Stalwart Flex. That is going to be a trouble because on the other side is of course going to be F4.
Slowly and steadily though, but the movement is just coming up from the ground. But the thing is that they just have to be out there. Stalwart, they can just easily try and just put pressure onto the opponents, and that's going to be Grounders. But if just like you said, if they go from the backhand side, F4 is just going to be ready. But well, we'll have to see where the second circle actually just takes down the players, because the players' momentum and the movement, everything depends on the circles. You don't play this game by yourself. The zone lets you play it by its own rules. That's what the main focus of the game always stays. Stalwart, you can see the players, they are looking pretty good, pretty chill for themselves, but now they are moving just onto the backhand side. Just probably might be thinking of something else, but no, Abul has been taken down by Blade. That was brilliant, and now he's moving up forward. The team already has 2 kills as they started off the first fights. But now, the grenades, the smokes, the throwables, everything being used to perfection. Thompson in the hand, 50 bullets strong is what Blade is. He's moving up pretty chill right now, and he spots on one player again, takes him down. All right, he is in. He's in already, but did not see the backstab, and now the finish will be happening for sure, and Blade has been finished. If you just have a look at this one, but Honey, he's spotting on the player, takes another one. Oh, he waits, but look at this. First man taken down, and there it is. What Stalwart? That was brilliant. They did lose on the player though, but they won the fight.
They certainly were able to convert that fight into their favor, but eventually they did end up losing that one player Blade, and along with that, of course, when you talk about knocks, 2 of the players have already been knocked, but doing so has, of course, given information towards F4 now, and as Stalwart decides to move away from this small little compound, there will be F4 in front of them, and NES not that far behind as you move on towards the map itself. Bablu, once again, looking very comfortable towards the southern part of the circle for now, and R3D making rotation inside the circle. It is going to be FS. That is a bit tricky in their situation, in their rotation, because Zarar, if they want, could very well backstab, or rather hold that fort as soon as Zarar gets themselves in the circle, and FS could be trouble. Could be a lot of trouble brewing for them. But with that, move on towards F4 and their compound. They have been in the center for the longest time, but now slowly and steadily, all the teams are pushing on along towards the same exact boot camp compound, and that is going to be trouble brewing once again for F4. But again, as Ocean mentioned, what exactly will F4 situation be? Will they be able to retaliate? Will they be able to get those information before any of the teams decides to push on along? Because it is a humongous compound, and that's going to be difficult to have all 4 corners and all 4 sides in your control, in your favor.
Somehow we will have to see, how these players actually just, play according to their own rules in these situations. Well, NFPSKY Ash just out there just trying to move up forward once again. And talking about Team Bablu, obviously the players are just onto the lower side, but R3D, they can have a good area for themselves because Nocto is onto a really good angle. He can spot down the players. I mean, you can see Zameen, that's Triple Z. He's just a bit onto a 3-1 split away from the team, as Pika, Wolf, and Zibian are at a good angle for themselves. But well, Kian has been spotted down by 4 Voltrix. He did do a bit of damage though. Now the next thing is, if you spot someone, take him down.
Exactly, convert that into a point as soon as possible. Nox is one thing, but get that information and then retaliate. And right here, we are looking at Khan going against Healthy right now. And well, F4 is certainly ready from all cylinders. They are firing and they are trying to retaliate against whatever side a push will come on along. Because if you look onto the map, you are of course right now looking at Khan, but onto the map itself, you have all the players of F4 keeping contestation in their favor. They are looking on to different sides of this entire compound and bringing that control in their favor. They know that there is another team towards NES. They know behind them is going to be Stalwart, and so of course now conversation is NFP. They have pushed. Khatir is already inside that warehouse. Slowly and steadily, once that flanking angle comes in along, Khan could be very well in some trouble. But with that, we have a perfect drop coming in where the Grows are in there and level 3 kit.
Grods, it is a brilliant weapon if you just want to talk about it. And using it with a suppressor, it's even better. I mean, that's how you just get kills and kills and kills and kills. And everyone would want that, right? Everyone would want a piece of that thing for themselves. So the untamed beast in that airdrop. But hey, Ratira takes on FS Respect, and Vegeta does go for a trade as he takes down Theta on the kill period. As you could just see, Zalim is out there, Professor's out there, Myth is out there as well. So FS, the players are over there. But Zalim goes down by a grenade by Vegeta. That's brilliant. And he has another grenade. He lofts it up again and again and again. Well, The domination that just happened as F4 was taking fight, FS was taking fight, and they actually got the kills.
Well, that was just perfect play coming in from FreeStyle indeed, and this has worked in their favor as Zarar is not looking good as they made that rotation, that early rotation that was, or rather late rotation, sorry, that was brought in from Zarar has resulted in backfiring, and it was of course FS that was FreeStyle solo and waiting for them, and eventually were able to send them back into the lobby with no points whatsoever at all as far as the kill damage is concerned. But move on towards Stalwart. Now they are losing this compound, and they had their crosses set up towards NES, but now are going to be working towards getting themselves much better placed into the circle itself.
Yeah, we still have to see, where the circle actually just forms up slowly. The 5th zone, 6th zone, those are going to be the important ones. Ozm has been taken down. Maxi will be confirming that kill. Alright, so Hammer confirms that kill. That's like in the same team, so the point just goes out there. Another loot has been made, and the player would want to just move forward. Wolverine meanwhile takes on NES Hammer. Talking about NES Hammer, had a good angle for himself. Now Maxi needs to go there, needs to go for the revive, and all those things will be happening. Stalwart, you can see Reviews and Crypto just moving up on with their own self. And talk about the circle. The water lines are in the zone.
Oh, yes.
That means teams will have to just, swim. Get those gills right now.
Oh boy. Could we be working towards that iron circle? Perhaps the circle is certainly going to be working towards that. But with that, F4 right now is going to be in control once again. They are outside the circle, outside the zone for now. But again, when it comes to NES and their rotation, it seems like F4 will want to bring that down if at all NES would allow them to.
I mean, that's just one thing, but you can see, and yes, yeah, they are just... Hammer is just slowly and steadily moving up forward. Wolverine's out there. But another thing is, F4 also needs to move. But Khan takes down FS. Respect as the team was onto the back-end side. That slow rotation that FS was doing. Khan to take one down. And now you can see the players just trying to find out a good area for themselves. Destroyer takes down NES. Snows of the fights are still happening onto these areas for the players to just, look forward to and to just, somehow take down the fights. Magnus, they have all the players surviving. They don't have the kills, though. Again, this team is playing good right now because, the top 3 position, it's always in the minds of these players. Top 3 position, they gotta stay top 3. Magnus, they gotta just climb up the ladder as easy as it looks. It's not that easy. That's the thing. This is the 3rd last game of the entire tournament of PMCO regional finals.
Exactly, and when it comes to these Pakistan teams, they are just bringing in dominating plays all across the board, where indeed F4 is right now the one that is in control of a lot of retaliation, a lot of aggression, and a lot of pushes that are of course coming in on the other side. But with that, Respect seems to be in a bit of a trickle, because after all it is F4 that has another information, and yes, Respect does go down. FS is going to be in a bit of a pickle. With that, of course, R3G is what Khan was looking at, and eventually that could very well turn into F4's favor as well.
Well, now Stalwart is in a bit of trouble once again as Team Bablu has started off taking fight, but well, Zibian goes down and the finish might as well happen. Zameen has been taken down as well as FS was going for a backstab, but well onto the other side. Pika takes down one, and the revival is going to be one of the most tricky things that he has to do. He has to stay outside the circle. This is going to be some sort of a game-changing thing. Zulka spots him down as well. It is a tricky thing. Does he go out? Does he stay in? Zulker has a grenade, throws one. The grenade goes down. The grenade comes in. Who's going to go down? Oh, the damage was done. Zulker, he is still surviving. Not any longer. Pika needs to heal up right now, and he got to move.
Well, boy, oh boy, with that, FS not looking good. FS certainly not looking good. It is the play zone that certainly is creating havoc for this team. And right now, it is 10 seconds, 18 seconds remaining for this zone to start pushing on along. And that is going to be that much more trouble for the side of FreeStyle. On the other side, of course, you talk about Pika. He has still not moved.
He has not moved because he does not know that Zulker was the player. He got taken down by the zone. The damage was done by grenade, but the zone did the final takedown of Zulker. So that's why Pika's still out there. Shaw, he has been spotted down. Oh, he could have taken the shot. He could have taken the shot. And now the circle, the movement. I want to see what the circle is, but what is Shaw doing? What is Shaw doing? Oh!
Boy, no. Oh boy. I mean, that was interesting to know went from Weekend, because again, he had that trigger control because he needs to move 100 meters away into the circle itself. And when it comes to that zone push, that is what perhaps Weekend was waiting on for. But eventually, again, Shaw, he was just stuck there like a mannequin. And eventually, Weekend decided, all right, mate, you're mine. And he brought that down. But eventually, again, has not been able to convert that into a kill. And as we look at this fight, you are looking at Stalwart being sent back as they made that water rotation. And moving on along with that, Weekend is now moving in towards the circle itself, and R3D's Joker could very well be in some trouble, but it is not Joker, it is indeed Weekend who seems to have been caught off guard, and eventually R3D Joker, having had that zone not in his favor, but that house in his favor, has definitely converted that into a kill, and Weekend goes down from Magnus, leaving them 3-man strong.
Well, as you can see, the circle did go for a really different shift. Like, nobody expected that out in this area. And you can see circle has the water lines for themselves. We'll just talk about this one as of now. And so many teams fighting out with each other. Destroyer still outside the circle. NFPSKY, and he gets inside the circle. But for how long can he stay? That's the thing. The circle had something different in their minds. Kathir, he is just waiting. Takes Destroyer down as well. Look at the circle. Look at the circle. TUF is the only team inside the zone. R3D fighting alongside. Magnus on the other direction. NES still swimming and trying to, just get onto the area. But out of all these fights, somehow, if we talk about the players, TUF, they have all the players, they have all the houses for themselves. I mean, sounds like they can have this game.
They certainly should be able to convert this into their favor and into their game. But again, I mean, you talk about NFP Kathir right there. The team has 4 kills, 3 going down towards Kathir himself. And slowly and steadily, as he moves into the circle right now, he's a one-man army and move on along to the other side. It is North Esports that has finally moved into the circle and chimed in with some aggression. But move on to R3D's Joker. He has brought down another player of Magnus. Now Magnus has left with just Ardil, and Joker is going to be moving away from that position. But TUF, they are not retaliating whatsoever at all for now.
Well, yes, they are not, but look at this. Joker just arrives onto the other direction. This might be bad for him as he gets spotted down. He goes down as well. Well, Erangel puts up the final bullet, and there it is, the ending that just happened onto the player. As you could see, NFPSKY, well, they also get eliminated right now. R3D's Innovis was also taken down, as we just talked about. That was the elimination of R3D. We are down to 5 teams, 11 players surviving. NES, they have a good area. Can they steal the house from TUF? Because you can see the circle. Like, it's major fight between TUF and NES right now, and the zone is going to decide if the circle goes out or the circle stays in. 300 meters. Wolverine is healing himself up. This is brilliant for this player. How many more points can he actually get up? That's the question. That is the question.
So 2 players in this game right now are doing this heal battle situation, where indeed we're looking at F4 Wolverine doing the same thing, and on the other side it was Magnus's player, Adil, I believe, was doing the exact same thing. He was outside the circle as well and trying to get that damage controlled and just get that, well, first aid working in his favor, but eventually seems like everybody's wanting to do the same.
Well, they cannot swim up right now. They are onto this area again. The first hit being used up to perfection. The perfect pixels. Just, going out there just to not to dish out a lot of time. 2 first aids right now. Tyrant is just out there. Now he puts up the first hit again. He's just dishing out time for himself for this one thing. Oh, barely survives. Once again, this is the last final first hit. Will they be at the 5th only? Or will it be like 4th or something? What's going to happen as he is out there? NES Amber goes on meanwhile. But look at this. The last player. He's just moving up forward. Talking about this one. The play zone takes Magnus down. That means FS. First aid works out there. The heal battle works. He's on the 4th position. But hey, NES and TUF, just like we were talking about in FreeStyle. And that means Wolverine, F4 is in top 3. Now the fight for TUF and NES in the house, out of the house. Where will the teams play this one?
Well, this is looking very interesting indeed, where Erangel OP is certainly bringing in that revive for Maxi, but eventually it is Edgar who seems to be cooking a perfect grenade, and eventually that is going to be Avenger who will try and dish out that perfect damage towards him, but a perfect nade once again. Maxi goes down. This is interesting turn of events, where indeed, I mean, TUF have really good control. They are pushing on along synergistically. They are not allowing even a small little peak coming in from NES or Avenger OP.
Avenger OP is on low HP right now, but the flank is just arriving on him. He needs to stay safe. He needs to put up the first aid. He does put up a first aid. Has an Uzi. Tries to take him down, but no, that does not happen. That means only 1 player. No surviving, but for how long can he take up this fight? As you can see, this is going to be a tough situation. He's on low HP. He goes down. TUF wins this game brilliantly.
Perfect play coming in from this team indeed, with 7 kills to this team. Winner, chicken dinner. Getting into that compound was just not going to happen against TUF, and TUF just played it to perfection. With that, they move on to the 4th position, and I mean, this is just perfect. That contestation between the 3rd, 4th and 5th, it just keeps on going with every single game. It's so close.
It's so close. They are at the 4th position right now. Top 3. 3 teams have to qualify. This is where you can say, it's still unpredictable what's going to happen, how is it going to happen, how the things are going to change. Wow.
Well, talking about unpredictability, of course, let's also talk about the most valuable player, because there were so many wonderful plays throughout the game. But who was that unpredictable savage? It was FreeStyle bringing in perfect 6 kills.
Cheetah. 6 kills, 462 damage, 0 assists. Look at his survival time.
That's what, right? I mean, 16 minutes, and he was just dominating in those 16 minutes with 6 kills and 462 damage dished. Perfect.
How? I mean, it was amazing, if anything. That means, because, you know, it's like 40% damage, 40% survival time. So that means other players also do not do a lot of damage. 600 is the maximum with 3 kills that you can see Stalwart Flex played. So that's one thing. Khatir with 3 and Maxi with 3. So just like I calculated that, right? Because that's one thing. And look at Blade survival time. First time, under 10 minutes, a person is in top players list out here in this one. Just think about it. Just let that sink in.
Well, that is just GG play from Blade. No conversation about it. With that, you talk about the match rank, and indeed, it was 7-kill team TUF with 22 points. They moved themselves to the 4th position in the overall ranking. North Esports coming in 2nd with 17 positions, and very closely followed by FreeStyle, Team F4, as well as Magnus.
Yeah, I mean, teams were just out here. We're talking about F4. Brilliant field battles just going on.
Yes.
For FreeStyle, for F4, for Magnus. Like that was just incredible. Team Bablu, they did not, you know, just get the best of the games in this one. Regicide was out there with 10. Grounders on 11. StarXOPS 12. Zarar 13th. And H2E on the 14th with no points for themselves.
Absolutely. H2E were caught off guard right off the bat, where the team was very, very fanned out, and their approach generally just did not work in their favor. And it was, again, Stalwart Flex that was able to bring that domination towards the side of H2E's first player being knocked down. But eventually, again, as you move this conversation along, when you talk about that overall, it is just so crazy right now, because so close. When you talk about those points, they are so close. But talking about damage, before we move on to the points, this is looking phenomenal from TUF.
Well, yes, it is. 7 kills for them, 1529. But talk about Stalwart, 1084 already. And then talk about R3D, 1090. Like, for them. So the numbers were just pretty close with a lot of teams.
Absolutely, and it was Zarar who was not able to get any of those numbers that working in their favor.
H2E also had damage, but they did not have kill. Like that means they were indulged in the fights.
True, that is so true, because yes, they would fanned out, but eventually, of course, when you talk about this team, that is where we, of course, do talk about the open moments as well, because that was just phenomenal play coming in right off the bat from Stalwart. But as you move this conversation, there were so many plays through and through.
Yeah, there were so many plays through and through onto these areas. Stalwart Flex, yeah, the players were just out there, and this is where H2E's, you know, the game went against H2E, which I want to talk about this one, because they were ready for this fight, but they were not exactly ready for this fight. The way FS just, you know, started moving up forward against them. If we just, you know, talk about this one, and the fights were, you know, slowly and steadily happening, but this is where R3D, I mean, the brilliancy of Joker right from the backhand side, just taking down the players, that was amazing.
That was perfect play, absolutely, and right here we, of course, look at Stalwart once again, and this is only 10-minute mark where indeed these players had moved on along and gotten a lot of kills, but this is where, well, dominating play did come in for the Grounders actually.
Yeah, I mean, the Grounders, they did try, but Stalwart was the one, you know, surviving till the last as it was happening. But you can see NES, they took those points for themselves, and then they started moving forward. I don't know, sure, probably was just call something that the players were giving to each other, you know, things like that was happening, like you rotate a bit late or something like that. I don't know, but well, things would have happened out there.
Exactly, and with that, you move on towards these teams, and that is where all of this eventuality brought it down to NES against UF, because again, we had 5 teams actually, but eventually all those players were so far away from the zone, it was only an NES versus TUF battle.
Yeah, I mean, that did just happen. And when we talk about this one, the final fight that was just, you know, going on, I mean, it was a matter of chance that, you know, TUF was really good in this fight, and they actually got the best out of everything.
Boy, oh boy, with that, of course, I'm sure you guys are itching as well. Let's move on to the overall rankings and find out how close have these teams moved on along now.
189, 171, 167 for TUF, for R3D. It's still FreeStyle, like they can still make it. 2 good games, and 2 is the number of games remaining. Just think about it.
Yep, exactly. That is going to be the number that these teams are, of course, going to be praying that hopefully the next 2 games they work in their favor.
Look at the pattern. 3-1-1, 3-1-1, 3-1. And like F4 has 3 chicken dinners, then TUF comes down, and NFP, so it's like 3-1-1, 3-1-1, 3-1-1. That's how it is.
That's absolutely correct. And with that, of course, I mean, Bablu started off with a perfect play on this final day, but eventually when it came to this game, we're not able to dish out a lot of control over those points. And eventually, of course, right now, they are in contestation with 120 points to Bablu as well as North Esports.
Well, North Esports and Team Bablu, obviously, they can change the pace of the game for their own own placement point game, right?
Exactly.
So that's one thing I would love to see, how these teams play the second last and the last game for themselves, because all the points that you accumulate in those two matter for everything.
Absolutely. With that, we already saw how close those points are. With that, we are going to go on a very, very short break, after which, of course, we'll be joining you guys with Miramar. Hello and welcome back once again to, of course, PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is the Pakistan Regional Finals that we're in. It's the final day. Game number 3 that we're going to get busy with. And, of course, joining me, it's going to be Phoenix for this game.
Thanks a lot, Blotter, for this warm welcome. And I'm very excited because I'm going to cast regional finals in Pakistan, PMCO Pakistan, basically.
This is going to be a good one. With that, of course, let's get busy with the game. I believe the flight has already taken off. So let's find out what the flight path has in store for us this time around.
Right now, if we talk about the flight path, it's going from the northern side of the La Cabrera towards a certain side of the Impala. And the teams can land wherever they want. And let's see where the first circle is going to form.
Exactly. For now, we are just looking at teams. That is going to be F4 right off the bat. And F4 is looking phenomenal right off the bat because, again, you talk about the overall ranking. This team is dominating, and that is looking real good for this team. But StarX, once again, the team on 13 is the number. We're looking at that team still having only a 3-man army for this game as well. Seems like the 4th player seems to be having some sort of a trouble, and that 3-man approach is going to be a bit troublesome, but never mind that conversation because finally we do have teams dropping down and we are looking at Magnus right off the bat, and that of course is going to move on towards their comfort level, which is going to be Torhamuda, but move towards Bablu. Now Bablu started off great. We know Miramar to be their game. Will they be able to capitalize? Let's find out.
Let's find out. And if we talk about this particular team, they in the overall ranking, they are on the 9th position with 120 points, which is still decent. But if we talk about the teams who are in the top 5, they got 224 points. Team F4, they got the highest amount of points among every other team. We talk about Stalwart Flex, they are on the 2nd position with 189 points, which is also insane. But I think so we are going to witness a very, very early fight between the players of Zarar as well as the Grounders.
Well, GG indeed. Shaptar bringing in that early domination towards his favor, but with that doing so, he has resulted himself in a very low HP, and of course his teammates are around to be able to give him that support, but it is going to be Zarar at the receiving end where both the players have been dropped down and both the players are going to be knocked. On the other side, of course, you talk towards Myth. Myth has already broken down Akbul and is probably going to convert that into, yes, he does convert that into a kill, and thus at least getting that 1 point for himself. But Honey is on the search. Honey is not going to allow Myth run away with that 1 point. He's always wanting to, of course, get that final point and get Zarar eliminated. But what is this conversation leading down towards? Because right now, of course, we've got Myth. He is probably wanting to just jump out of that window or probably run away from the situation. Will he be able to do so? Because again, as they keep running around, there's so many audio cues being shared all across this team and as well as this house.
Yep, right now, Myth is still surviving. Right now, he has one Thompson and his position got revealed and he got knocked out by KSF. But the main thing is, back in the day, I casted the Miramar and the same thing happened. Zarar, they changed their drop location and they got punished. And the same thing happened today. So, changing a drop location not favoring you, so that's not a good thing. But the main thing is Zarar, now they are down to only one player, which is Zigzag.
Absolutely, and Zigzag is far away in that small little shack and not going to be able to do much because it is, of course, Grounders who are looking 3-man strong as of now and, of course, are going to be able to, well, get that loot working in their favor. Right off the bat, you're talking about, well, First Blood. We've got first 3 Bloods coming in right here. And that is looking pretty phenomenal for this map because, again, when you talk about this map, you know it's supposed to be a slow-paced one. Normally, that's what we actually keep on noticing, but eventually, this is not the case when it comes to Zarar and the Grounders.
Yeah, right now, Zarar Zigzag, he has one SLR and he has also one level 2 West without a helmet. But the main thing is he can use that SLR into his favor, but first of all, he needs a scope so that he can, spot down some players where if they are very far away from him. But by the looks of it, he is backing off, don't want to take any fight, and this is a right decision. But the main thing is I can see F4 Khan in the vicinity.
Exactly, he's rushing exactly towards Khan, and right now, as soon as F4 Khan gets that information, will not allow the Zigzag person out in the open. But the Grounders, have they been able to focus or notice onto that final player of Zarar? It does not seem likely, but eventually, again, Zarar will be able to, Zigzag will be able to walk away from that position. No problem at all. He's got a cool cap, so as he runs on along, that's what is just helping him out. But eventually, as he does so, as we just mentioned, that F4 was right there, and that is going to be a bit of a tricky situation for Zigzag. Either he needs to be very, very quiet, or it is going to be F4 that will annihilate him and send the entirety of Zigzag into the lobby. The Grounders, though, they are on the run. They are certainly wanting to find that final player.
And Honey spotted him down as well, trying to dish out some damage. Just spraying down towards Zigzag, connected 2 shots, and Zigzag surviving on only 1% HP. And finally, Oh my god, Zarar Esports have been taken down and they got eliminated on the 14th position. We just hit only the 4-minute marks in the game. 4-minute mark, basically.
Absolutely, and in those 4 minutes, we've already seen 4 kills coming in from the side of the Grounders. Indeed, doing so, they did end up losing one of their players, but eventually, again, you talk about contestation, that was just a sad contestation for the side of Zarar, because eventually they, of course, did not want to get that sort of a start onto this map. But talk about teams. Talk about teams and contestations. All the teams are set up pretty perfectly in their own separate zone. You talk about El Pozo, that seems to be taken over by Bablu. You move on down towards south. You have StarX, that is set up all by themselves towards Porto. And you move all towards the southern part of Los Leones. That is where Stalwart Flex as well as North Esports are. So again, if you would look at contestations, perhaps that's where we could see if North Esports ends up going towards Los Leones, where of course Stalwart Flex is going to be waiting for them.
Yeah. Same for FO and the Grounders. They're very close to each other, but right now Grounders, they're leaving that area near the Hacienda de Petro area. Now they're just moving towards the eastern side. But the main thing is, Bablu, they are outside of the zone, but there's no team in front of them except FO. They are waiting if they can gatekeep for Team Bablu if they want to.
Absolutely, that is something that we can expect from the side of F4, because we know that they love to do that, not only in this game, but so many other games that we've noticed, not only from today, but other days, where F4 tries to just hold that ground, hold that fort. In fact, in the previous game itself, we noticed them holding that boot camp area for the longest time, and eventually, when they did make that rotation, it resulted, or rather backfired, because it was a late rotation for them. But again, I mean, right now, it could very well be in their favor, because they are already in the circle. Move the conversation towards North Esports. This is the team, if they make that rotation, where, of course, Stalwart Flex might be waiting for them. But as of now, of course, all we're looking at is North Esports getting comfortable, getting very cozy as they get their loot segregated and get themselves acquainted to all the different buildings around in this region.
Meanwhile, Amir, he has one Car 98, which is very, very useful in this Miramar map, because we usually witness some long-range fights in this map, and right now, Uzim, he's running into open, and his player is just behind him, and like, bro, just sit down in the van. He was like, no, I just want to run. I just want to explore the map right now.
Well, that is certainly the case that we can see. But again, I mean, having all 4 players in just one car is certainly not the play to have. And that is what we're looking at when it comes to Stalwart, where indeed they have 3 individual vehicles that they are in control of. And that is going to be good. That is going to be really good. And with that, they're going to move on to 4 individual vehicles. And that is the perfect approach that you ought to have. Move that conversation towards H2E. They also seem to have control over 2 vehicles as of now, and are making that rotation out of this region that they had, and will be wanting to get themselves perfectly set up in the circle itself, because right now they are down towards the eastern side of the map, and slowly and steadily as they make that rotation, GG indeed, because it could very well be Stalwart Flex that could stop that rotation for them.
Yep, Stalwart Flex, if they want to, they can, stop that rotation. But meanwhile, FS, they are in the center of the zone. They are in the center of the in the safe zone right now. And Bablu as well as TUF right now, they are just doing their rotations so that they can move in the safe zone. But if I talk about this team, TUF, in the previous match, they got the chicken dinner with 7 kills. Can they able to do that? Can they able to show the same thing in this map? In it? Let's see. Time will tell.
Exactly, and with that, we've got the first airdrop coming in, where indeed you've got the AUG being dropped in along with the suppressor, and that is going to be really, really good. But as the rotation comes in from the side of course, North Esports, I believe it was, that is the exact region where this first airdrop has dropped in, and that could very well favor North Esports if they make that rotation towards the side of Los Leones. And again, Stalwart Flex has already left that Los Leones area, so that's going to be perfectly set up for North Esports. But we shall see what sort of rotation do they end up bringing for themselves. Move it towards the R3G players. They are also, for now, looking really comfortable with the pretty good kit, and there is no medkit though.
Yup, Side don't have any medkit, but he has some bandages. But you know what? Bandages are not going to help you a lot if you just brought down to only 10% HP. First aid kit is going to help you a lot. But in just a few seconds, we are going to witness the second zone, and it is favoring the area of the junkyard near the junkyard area, as well as Minas, as well as La Bendita. Right now, Magnus is trying to take some fights with the team NFP, and Halsey, he is on very low HP, and he is just hiding inside that compound.
Exactly, he's hiding in that shack for now, and Magnus have a perfect advantage because they have the height advantage, and they will be able to dish out a lot of damage as soon as Halsey tries to move away from that situation. But we also noticed that his teammate was on the other side, on the other mountain altogether, so if his teammate decides, he could very well retaliate and push against this comfortable push coming in from the side of Magnus's approach, but eventually seems like he's left all by himself.
Yep, and this is not a good position for Halsey because the whole team is just charging towards him. Slowly and steadily, Weaken. He got that Mirado, and okay, he's just backing off. I think so. He just want to, just climb that mountain so that he can just spot him down very easily. F4. We are witnessing F4. They are busy just in their rotations, and right now I think so. They are going to start looting in these individual compounds.
Exactly, and with that, we've got R3G bringing in domination towards the side of Bablu, and Magnus right here taking an off-angle approach towards that final player of NFP. Will they be wanting to convert that into a kill? From the looks of it, they are genuinely moving away from that situation altogether, and Bablu has taken a knock, but will that be converted into a kill? That is what Johnny is here to answer.
Yep, that is what Johnny is here to answer. Meanwhile, Bablu, they lost one player, now they are down to 3 players. First of all, one player need a revive, and R3G, 2 players, and they just inside the buggy and just charging towards the 2 players of Bablu. I think so. Johnny spotted him down, trying to dish out some damage. Can he able to do that? Yep, Pika got knocked out, and just few seconds he is going to get killed. But Bablu Wolf, I thought that he can able to survive, but unfortunately he just jumped off that buggy and he got punished as well.
Well, Johnny certainly has the answer, and it seems like not only 1 but now 2 players of Bablu are in trouble, and that's not looking good for that side. But again, on the other side, we are looking at TUF going against North Esports, as North Esports bring in that perfect rotation for themselves. TUF was coming in towards the side of Picado, and now they have met somewhere along the ridges of Los Leones perhaps, but move the conversation towards R3G. They have just gotten themselves very easy 2 perfect kills, and with that, 2 points going to this team. But Team F4 now is taking a fight against FreeStyle, where FreeStyle certainly has the edges working in their favor, the ridges working in their favor, but will they be able to convert? This is going to be the conversation, because Khan is very upfront right here, and he's of course going to be probably utilizing those utilities. Yes, he does, but in that doing so, he has given away his information, and a perfect nade coming in from Tyrant has resulted in him going down. Now Khan is going to be at the receiving end, or probably even be knocked or killed.
Yep, meanwhile, Destroyer just trying to support his player who got knocked out. And Khan, he is bleeding slowly and steadily. And the main thing is, FreeStyle, they have to win this fight because they are on the 5th position. They got decent amount of points. They got 153 points in the overall standings. And right now, they got the upper hand as well, because one player of F4, he got knocked out, and slowly he's bleeding out as well. Tyrant, he's just trying to burst down that car, which is a good thing, so that you can, stop the rotation, which is going to come from the side of Team F4.
Exactly, and for now it is Wolverine who seems to have thrown a smoke right towards that region and wanting to support that vehicle that they've got. They've got 2 vehicles actually over there, so if one explodes, both of them explode. But with that, of course, you talk about Destroyer and the flanking approach that they're trying to bring the revival for Khan, seeming a bit troublesome. But on the other side of the map altogether itself, now we've got another crazy turn of events where the circle has moved on towards Junkyard, and NFP are in control.
NFP, they are in the control, but right now we are just still witnessing this fight. H2E Hacker also coming into action, and NES, one player just got knocked out. And look at the position of H2E Hacker. They are very close to the safe zone, and yep, they just have to move a little bit so that they can be inside the safe zone. Meanwhile, Dread, he has one Scarrel with 6x score, and this is going to help him a lot because this is a Miramar map. You usually just end up in just having a fight which are, a long range fights basically.
Absolutely, and for that, of course, it is North Esports that's at the receiving end for this side. H2E is just wanting to gatekeep this because the circle is very, very close to them. They've got this compound working in their favor, and slowly and steadily now, of course, Hacker's idea is going to be to just save that vehicle. The sooner the better, but move that conversation towards Dread. It is just going to be domination because NES well, he has given away his information, and Dread will not want to let that small little information walk away.
Yeah, as well as Dread just burst down one tire of, the player of Snow, basically. But right now, Snow, he is in a comfortable position. He's just running inside the open. His teammates are there very close to very close to him. But we have the airdrop 2 in front of us, and in that airdrop we have the great green cannon, which is the OMP. But look at the position of Bablu Zibian. He is inside the blue zone, taking damage of the blue zone, and he is also inside the safe zone. He has to cover a lot. He has to cover a lot of distance so that he can be inside the safe zone and just collect some more points for his team. But I don't think so that he can be able to do that, because right now he's just moving inside the blue zone.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm noticing as well. And when it comes to the team of Bablu, he's the only one man remaining for the entirety of the team, and seems like he does not have a vehicle in his control. So again, maybe he's just going down towards the area to find himself a vehicle. But move that conversation towards North Esports, coming in, of course, from Impala. They also are making that rotation, a very late rotation. So they are also going to be caught off guard as they make that rotation into the circle, where again, you're just talking about the OM. Seems like TUF have got themselves stuck right exact at that airdrop and will probably want to get that gun. But alongside them is going to be Magnus as well as StarX.
Yep, as well as StarX. But the main thing is Zibian finally able to get that vehicle into his favor, and right now he's just moving inside the safe zone. But F4, it's look like they got a pretty good compound for themselves so that they can hold inside the circle, and the third circle is just closing in slowly and steadily. Meanwhile, H2E, they are also doing their rotation. They are very close to the team F4, and Red, he can spot it down by the players of F4, but he is just taking cover of that rage in his favor.
Absolutely. I mean, right now that is working in H2E's favor as they make that rotation, but just hope that they do not end up coming into the crosshairs of F4, because F4 will not leave you no matter if you're in one vehicle or four. But on the other side of the map, NFP have taken a knock as well, and that is going to be an interesting turn of events. But alongside that, you are also looking at Play Zone creating havoc for the side of Stalwart, because they were trying to make that rotation, and now H2E are the ones who are going to be bringing in that contestation for Stalwart. They've only got 3-man army as of now, and on the other side, of course, there's going to be FreeStyle as well. So H2E, FreeStyle, and Stalwart, they seem to be in this triangle, and this is going to be a deadly triangle for one of these teams or all three of them.
Yep, meanwhile, and yes, Avenger OP, he got knocked out by the Play Zone. Meanwhile, Crypto, he's slowly bleeding out. But the main thing is Stalwart, they have to deal with, first of all, FS as well as H2E, because they are very close to these two teams. Basically, they got sandwiched between these two teams, and oh my god, respect. He got one knock on only one player surviving from the side of Stalwart Flex. It is going to be Uzum.
That is true, and with that, of course, both the other players are not looking good. Uzum has, of course, got the cover off the smoke, but eventually it is Respect moving into the smoke itself, and is going to be probably converting that into a fight for his favor. And will he be able to do so? There just needs to be a few utilities, and that will, of course, give him the kill. But it is FS Respect who brings down that one player. Uzum, of course, is the last man surviving, and of course, with that, Uzum brings down Zulkar, but the grenade being popped in favor of course, FS, and eventually FS are the one walking away with the kills, with the points. Stalwart Flex being sent back into the lobby.
They got eliminated on the 13th position. Now we are left with only 12 team, 40 players are there, and right now Zulkar, he's just getting a revive, and Respect, he's just gonna collect that loot. He just killed the whole team of Stalwart Flex.
But their troubles are not yet done, Phoenix.
Yep, because H2E, they are very close to FreeStyle, and you can spot them very easily because they are in the open.
Exactly, and I mean, you talk about North Esports, it is an ouch situation because they brought in that rotation so very late, so very late. They have been taken care of by the play zone itself and not walking away with any of the points. But eventually, H2E, will they be able to retaliate against this F4 push? Because FS push, my apologies there, because again, FS certainly have the information, but it seems like a third-party situation where H2E is taking knock onto a completely different side of the map.
Yeah, meanwhile, H2E Dread just knocked out Vegeta as well as he killed him. So now FS, they dropped down to only 3 players. H2E, they claimed 1 kill for themselves, and Respect, his car, this car does not have that much of HP so that he can survive. But meanwhile, TUF also coming into action, knocked out 1 player. But Jigsaw still trying to spot down some players, but Team FS, they just ran away.
Yep, they certainly seem to have run away from that situation and do not want to be converting that into their favor. They were very happy with the points that they got, having taken care of Stalwart, but now move the conversation towards the Grounders, who are moving on towards the compound of F4. As of now, the Grounders are looking strong. They've got 4 points, they've got 4 kills for themselves, and that's going to be phenomenal. But again, H2E not wanting to get this team running away from them, and that is going to turn into a deadly situation right here, where that deadly triangle has now brought us to just these 2 teams remaining, H2E going up against FS.
Yep, meanwhile, we can see that Grounders, they're very close to the last man surviving of the team. Bablu Honey slowly and steadily moving towards the side of Bablu. Tyrant, oh my god. It's my bad, it's Zibian, and Zibian got killed and Bablu got eliminated on the 11th position. Meanwhile, Dread just knocked down Tyrant, and he's just going to convert that knock into a kill. Meanwhile, the whole team just charging towards Team FS. Now, they just backed off, holding a little bit so that, you know, they can delay this fight and just going to finish that fight with some utilities.
Exactly, it is Zulkar once again holding him strong, but eventually it is H2E, Oreo and Hacker who are going to be dominating against these players. And there we go, another kill coming in for this lad. The grenade is the one that utilized and knocked them down. Eventually, it is seeming like this could very well turn in FS's favor if he's able to retaliate perfectly, but with that, he does knock the player, but eventually it was a 2v1 scenario, and it is going to be Hacker, but, well, eventually again, he does get a revival because his teammates are right around the corner.
Yeah, right now we can see that blue zone just, you know, punishing a lot of one player of NFP. He got knocked down inside the play zone. Meanwhile, KSF got the domination title because he got 3 kills for himself. Meanwhile, F4, they're also coming into action right now. TUF Venom just trying to throw some smokes so that he can make some extra cover. And Khan spotted down Shaftar, and he knocked him down. Can he able to convert that kill because the grounders they were just behind them, and Khan he just wanted to throw a grenade, but that kill just convert. Just the knock basically got converted.
Yep, absolutely, and he got the kill. That is absolutely true, and with that, he moved away with 1 point. And again, that is F4 and their gameplay. But again, I mean, the game has turned into a deadly turn of events where the play zone seems to be controlling a lot of these players. And H2E, even though they were very, very cocky for that kill, eventually that late rotation has genuinely not worked in their favor because it is TUF who was holding on that fort. And with that, doing so, H2E's player has been knocked, and that's going to be Hacker. But again, I mean, H2E has all 4 players alive, I believe. So, of course, should be able to get that revival done. But exactly what sort of a rotation is going to work for them, because this is the 5th circle. So many teams are already inside the circle. No matter what long rotation you end up making, there will be one team or the other that will be retaliating against you.
Agree with your point, but first of all, the main thing is H2E. They you know, charged to, they basically knocked out some players of FreeStyle. Right now, they got caught off guarded by the players of TUF. Meanwhile, Magnus keeps taking a lot of damage. He's down to only 40% HP. He also taking a lot of damage. And Magnus Adil, he got knocked down, and Skep, he's barely surviving 10% HP. But the smoke is the answer who is just protecting him. Meanwhile, ESP, he also taking some damage from the side of R3D. But Joker, he also got knocked out.
Exactly, and it is F4 right now with dominating play. 7 kills to this team. TUF not that far behind with 5 kills, but it is a perfect grenade coming in from StarX that has resulted in TUF being at that receiving end, and eventually that grenade has resulted in StarX walking away with 1 more point. But eventually, will that convert into a more point? Yes, it does. Yes, it perfectly does. StarX, I mean, 3-man squad is slowly and steadily genuinely just working towards their favor and bringing in those kills. But F4 is the gatekeeping team with 8 kills to this team.
Yeah, F4, like, you cannot able to celebrate so early because we are going to knock you down. And right now, TUF, Venom is the last man surviving for Team TUF, just taking the cover of Buggy. And Wardrooks could not able to spot him down. And in what position Venom is, because he can spot down by the players of StarX as well as Team F4, but he is still prone down at that situation. Wardrooks just throwing some random grenades, but okay, that one grenade, I think so it might work out for him, but it was too far away.
Exactly. Now, the only trouble for Venom is the fact that this buggy can very well sting because the buggy has not exploded. And as soon as that buggy explodes, Venom's cover is going to be blown, and that could be very well his demise. But that we shall have to see if F4 wants to retaliate, because they need to get into the circle as well. Talking about being in the circle, right now we are looking at StarXOP being sent out of the circle, out of the lobby itself. And that is going to be an interesting turn of events as we are left with only 5 teams. R3G Insane right now looking pretty neat. This is also a 3-man army for now, and they are looking in control of this small little ridges. That is the only cover that they've got.
Yep, meanwhile, Johnny, he can spot down the last player of TUF Venom, but unfortunately, he's just taking a lot of damage because of that nade from the side of Magnus. But meanwhile, F4 Khan just running into the open, just trying to give some cover to his teammate. Wolverine just convert that last player into a crate, and TUF, they got eliminated on the 5th position. Look at the position of the players of R3D. They are very far from each other.
Absolutely, they have a very fanned out approach indeed, and that could be troublesome, but indeed it is not the case because R3D had that information for the side of F4 smoke, and eventually it is Voltrix who seems to be at the receiving end and has been knocked. Again, Khan, how exactly will that revival be brought in, because they do need to bring that revival, and F4 always does try and focus on having all 4 members of their team alive, but Khan's information, of course, has been given away to R3D. Anubis is the one who seems to be taking those shots, and eventually it seems like F4 is going to have to lose that player.
Yep, meanwhile, this fanned out approach from the side of R3D Esports just working in their favor. Meanwhile, Khan, he is on very Magnus Esports get taken down on the 4th position. Magnus Esports get taken down on the 4th position. Voltrock, he still need a revive, and Wolverine and Destroy are two men who are got a good amount of HP as well as they got a good position in this area.
Exactly. We've got Regicide 3-man strong. We've got R3D that is looking like a 4-man strong army. Same for F4 as well for now. Indeed, in doing so, F4 have a lot of information that they've given away, and in that, we've got a final airdrop also being dropped right in between all of these teams. And in this, down the conversation is basically a 4v4v3 situation where Regicide is taking a very low-key approach. They are being very prone, one with the nature, not wanting to take a lot of fights, but F4's information, since has been given away, it is probably going to be R3G that will want to retaliate against F4.
Yep, meanwhile, if we talk about F4, they got 11 kills for themselves. They are looking quite strong. 4 men are there. And Regicide, they got stuck. They got sandwiched between these two teams, but that one grenade from the side of Insane brought down Anubis to only 5% HP. Destroyer spotted down Joker, trying to knock him down, and yep, he can able to do that. But Johnny, I think so, he's going to give revive to his knocked out teammate, and also he dished out a lot of damage to F4 Khan.
Absolutely did, and for now it is the revival that will be brought in indeed, and with that, once again, the conversation is still sticking to 4v4v. Boy, oh boy, this is taking trouble because till now R3D was in control of this contestation, but eventually because of the circle pushing on against them, they are going to have to bring themselves a bit more inside the circle, and as they do so, they could very well be spotted. But right now it is F4 as they brought that aggression towards the side of R3G are at the receiving end, but eventually this is just an all-out war where F4 Destroyer was knocked by thanks to R3G, but eventually again R3D's push has resulted in R3G taking a knock as well.
Taking a knock as well, and Insane just charging towards Anubis, and Anubis is still waiting. He's still waiting, I think so. He's just still waiting for the right opportunity, and right now this is going to be a 1v1 situation, but Insane couldn't able to, expect that the Virus is going to give cover to his teammate, but the main thing is he got one knock, and right now Johnny's the last man surviving for the team R3G.
Exactly, and with that, Virus is going to be able to bring in that support for his teammate, but along with that, as he try and do so, he better take care of his health as well, because otherwise it will be Johnny who will be in control, and that is exactly what has happened. Even though R3D were looking really confident, really good, it has now turned into an all-out war from the side of R3G, and eventually that means annihilation of R3D, and now it is a 4v2 situation from the looks of it. Where are the other players of the other team? There are players. Joker is on the other side. Yes, there is one player, R3D, but where exactly is he going to be able to stand, because he's the only one-man army remaining for this team?
Yeah, but the main thing is F4, they were just, they gone silent, because when R3G and as well as R3D, they were taking fight, they were like, no, we don't want to, enjoy your party. Just eliminate yourself, and when you're going to survive and you're going to get down only 1 or 2 players, then after that we are going to punish you. But meanwhile, R3G, they are looking quite strong, because Khan, he got eliminated, he got knocked out, and Vortex on very low HP. Insane and Johnny, they're the last 2 players surviving for R3G. Knocked out 1 more player, but Insane surviving on very low HP.
Well, in that, they've got a 2v1 situation going on against the favor of Johnny indeed, and Wolverine onto a black back flanking angle that is going to be working perfectly in his favor. With that, of course, as Johnny tries and brings in a lot of aggression, eventually it is looking very, very tough for F4 as well, because so many of these players have already been knocked. Voltrox with not so much of health, but again, Wolverine has that perfect angle working in his favor, and Insane on the other side, of course, is now going to be utilizing this opportunity to be able to revive his player and get themselves a 2-man army.
And right now, Voltrox is charging towards the last player surviving for R3G, but oh my god, Insane, he's looking insane right now, because this is going to be a 1v1 situation about both the players. Wolverine, just, I think so, switch to M4, and right now trying to kill him, but Insane just collecting some kills for himself so that it could help him a lot, so that he can get some extra point. Insane trying to dish out a lot of damage. Wolverine on 20% HP, and R3G.
Wow. What a play. What a play indeed. Chicken dinner, well deserved indeed. And that was just F4 not being able to control that fight in their favor. But R3G, Regicide, what a massive turnover wins with 12 kills to this team, 2103 total damage dish. This was beautiful, and with that they moved on to the 8th position on that leaderboard. And beautiful turnover wins where F4 seemed to be in control, wanted to be in control, should have been in control, but Regicide just dominated them.
As well as Regicide, you know what? They eliminated R3D. After that, they got stuck in a 2v4 situation. They survived in that situation, eliminated the whole team of F4. F4, they were looking quite strong, but you know what? That one mistake, just one single and single players, just charging towards 2 players, and because of that, they got punished.
Absolutely, that was just not the kind of result that F4 wanted, but they did walk away with a lot of kills. So again, talk about those points. They are also going to be working in F4's favor, but eventually, that one man that is, of course, going to be the most valuable, of course, I'm talking about MVP, will be from the side of F4 Destroyer with 6 kills, 690 damage dealt all throughout the game of 25 minutes, almost 26 minutes, 1 assist, and 389 healing done from this lad.
Yeah, and I think so he can collect some more kills if he can able to survive in that situation, but the way he played is insane. And I think so F4, they got 13 to 14 kills, which is really a good amount if you finish on second position.
And with that, of course, you always ought to get yourself in the top player list, because that sort of killing spree was just phenomenal to be able to see.
Yep, if we just talked about Destroyer, he got the MVP title, but insane, he was not that far behind because he also got 6 kills for himself and he dished out 645 damage. If we talk about Johnny, is also there from the side of Regicide, he got 4 kills and dished out 820 damage. This is the highest amount of damage among all the 4 players.
Exactly, and that is Johnny answering so many wonderful aggressive plays throughout this game of Miramar. With that, when it comes to the match, we are looking at 12 kills for Regicide, 12 kills for Team F4 as well. But again, that chicken dinner did give Regicide 27 points. But again, I mean, you talk about the way Team F4 played, the way R3D played. R3D, they had control of that final circle. They should have been able to push on along, but somehow Regicide were the one who dominated them.
Yeah, and you know what? That fan out approach from the side of R3D, just because of that, they got punished and end up on the 3rd position. But if we talk about, look, 4 teams, they got 0 kills, which is going to be NFP, Team Bablu, North Esports, as well as Stalwart Flex.
Exactly. For now, Stalwart Flex were not able to showcase the kind of play that they wanted to, but in doing so, of course, when it comes to the damage was dealt all across the board from F4, and that is what, of course, I would want to look on to as well, because again, even though Regicide did get 12 kills, it was very close, because you talk about that damage histograph, F4 right there with 12 kills, but 1916 damage, and Regicide with 2103 damage dealt to her.
Yep, and we talk about the grounders. They dished out 1480 damage and able to get 7 kills. But FreeStyle, they dished out 128 damage, but can able to convert that amount of damage into only 2 kills.
Absolutely, and on the other side, of course, you'd look on to the lower graph. We are looking at, of course, Team Bablu, North Esports, and again with that Stalwart, who were not able to get the kind of damage that they wanted to, the kind of kills that they would have actually wanted to walk away with, because they did walk away with 0 points, and that is of course not the kind of gameplay that they wanted. That is of course from the side of Stalwart. But let's recap all of that to, of course, the upper moments and find out all off the bat. I mean, right off the bat, we had in first 4 minutes 4 kills already.
Yeah, 4 kills already. And we talk about this. This approach from the side of Zarar is not favoring them a lot, because just changing your drop location is not good for you, because in the start of the match, we just hit the 2 minutes mark and 2 players got eliminated from Zarar Esports and Grounders. Honey, he is looking pretty insane because he just eliminated the whole team, and he was the one who killed Zigzag of Zarar Esports. And because this was a very unfortunate moment for Team Bablu, because they were just trying to run for their life, but because of that buggy, they got punched.
Ouch. That was an ouch situation for Bablu indeed. And move on to FS. They brought in a phenomenal play right here as well. But you talk about the way FS was brought down, it was all thanks to H2E and their aggressive, wonderful push. Just being synergistic, having conversations, and bringing those conversations into results that they wanted. But as they did so, of course, they were caught off guard. And as they tried to get into the circle, it was TUF that stopped that push.
Yeah, that stopped that push. But if we talk about this position, F4, they got knocked out again and again. But this push from side of Insane gave them a lot of boost. Because of that, Johnny just charged up towards the last 2 players who is in front of him right now. Because of that, he killed the whole team of R3.
Absolutely, and as you move on along towards this final battle, where indeed you're looking at 4 players coming in from the side of F4, but eventually it turned into a 1v1 scenario where once again, I mean, this guy was just so good. Wolverine was on the low back end, should have been able to bring in those flanking angles, but the entirety of the team of F4 was just in one line. But boy oh boy, with that, of course, they were right up there top with 12 points, and that of course will move on to the overall rankings, and they will be moving away from all the other teams. And yep, they do so gracefully with 200 248 points towards the side of F4.
Yep, and if we talk about on the second position, we have Stalwart Flex with 189 points. But R3D, they climb up on the fourth position with 171 points. They're just 2 points far away from that third position, right?
Oh yes, this is going to be all-out war in the final game. This is going to be incredible. Of course, I mean, Team F4 has created a massive lead for themselves, but it is still going to be a very, very close affair for the second, third, fourth, fifth position, because 189, 181, 179, that is close. That is really, really close.
Yep, and if we talk about teams who are on the second phase, they're not looking so good, because Team H3, they just dropped down on the 9th, as well as Team Bablu, they just dropped on the 10th position with 130 and 121 points respectively. But the main thing is, the grounders, Zarar Esports and StarXOPS, they cannot able to hit that that 100 points mark.
That is true. That is sad. That is sad. But
yeah.
again, I mean, it's just such an aggressive lobby. Such an aggressive lobby that has just been fluctuating from the get-go itself. It has been about consistency, and that consistency every single time we've seen from F4. Stalwart as well. This time around, it did not work in their favor, but they are on the second.
Yeah.
Hopefully this final game is going to be working in towards all of these teams' favors, because second, third, fourth, fifth, very, very close in terms of the points. With that, we're going to go on a very, very short break, after which, of course, is going to be the final game, fourth game on Erangel once again. Hello and welcome back once again to PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is, of course, the regional finals, final day, final game. All thanks to, of course, Reno 5 Pro. But indeed, joining me once again is going to be Ocean Sharma.
Thank you very much. And this is going to be the last game that cements everything. Yep. 3 slots once again, ladies and boys and girls. 3 slots from here. Just for that road to PMPL that, we used to see. We used to just, feel the pressure already. And this is where it is going to be ending up. For a lot of teams, the journey might just end out here. But what they're getting is experience. And for 3 teams moving up forward, it's going to be a good one. But trust me, the amount of pressure that just is going to be. You can quote Eminem on this one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about it, actually.
Yeah. Palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on the sweater already, and mom's chicken dinner. Let's just go for this one.
It is. And with that, of course, let's get into the game and find out where exactly is the flight path going to be leading us down towards on this final game. And it is from south of military going down towards Georgopol.
All right, talking about the Georgopol's area, talking about ruins, talking about Gatka, Pochinki, Query, Peripia military base as well, and Novorepnoy, Milta. If a team wants to go on to all these areas, you have good areas. Yasna, Poliana, not so much as of now. I mean, teams would want to, just change up something. This, once again, is going to be the final game, and teams that want to go YOLO, this is your chance. Meanwhile, F4, they have cemented themselves at a really, really good position.
With 248 points, I mean, this team is looking destructive in the entirety of the lobby. And as they move on forth, of course, they will be representing the Pakistan region as well. And that is going to be really good. But there is still contestation for that second and third spot. Every single game, we're looking at jumps coming in on towards the second and the third spot. Of course, for now, Stalwart has maintained that lead. But one good game, the one final game, who is going to be leading this game is what the entirety of the conversation would be, perhaps.
Yeah, totally. This is where the conversation is going to just, move up as of now. But you can see the teams, the players just dropping down right now. Slowly, steadily onto the areas. Novorepnoy already up for the contestation. As you can see, Team Zarar, well, they're not alone.
They've got TG right next to them. And that, again, is going to be the exact same conversation that happened in the previous game as well for Zarar. And in that, it was, of course, TG that did walk away. But eventually, right now, it is going to be Zarar and TG. And Zarar have a very fanned-out approach for now.
I want to see if both the teams get out of here alive, or if it's like if one team gets out, which team is it going to be? Is it going to be the one that's holding the containers, or is it going to be the one that's holding the houses? Because talking about containers, yeah, you get good loot, but you get spotted easily because you don't have any covers. Instead, if you just, go down off a container or something like that. Talking about the houses, you get limited loot, but you have a lot of cover. But look at Theta. He's the one that can just, start up spark the fire, if we want to talk about this one. Because Professor, Zigzag and Myth are onto the container side. And Theta, he's just out there. But for how long?
For how long, indeed. And as you look on towards the side of Shaptar, he is moving on along with the Tommy and is going to be looking phenomenal as he does so. But again, talking about phenomenal plays, the dude has been phenomenal, but without any West, without any... talk about West, there it is coming in to help him, and that's going to be good. That's going to be very, very important. But another thing that I'm absolutely loving for TG is the grounders stick together. Zarar always fan themselves out, and that fanned out approach could be the one that could be the destruction of the team. But again, it is Theta who is very, very quiet, and right in front of them is Shaptar.
With every movement, the clock's ticking. You can see the time on one side is, falling short for the circle, whilst on the other side, it's increasing. But Theta, he's just out there. He spots down KSF. But hey, will it be the shotgun or M16? M16 for the start right now. Tries to go for the... Had he used shotgun, yes, the outcome would have been something different. And that too, not the S686 that he had. Had he used S1897, because you saw... He missed the first shot, he took the second shot and the third shot. So S1897, I would say, instead of S686, would have had like, 5 bullets? Exactly. Could have taken down the second on the third.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Harry went on point again. I mean, just that one shot could have been the demise of KSF. Or if not demise, at least could have knocked him down to bare low minimum. But eventually, this goes in favor of the grounders once again. And that is going to be a bit of a troublesome situation for Zarar, because they, of course, are down towards the region. Very close to them, there's going to be grounders. And now the conversation will be, will Zarar want to just rush away from the situation? Or will they want to retaliate for that kill, for that early first blood that the grounders have brought in once again for Zarar? Sad.
Yeah, I mean, we can just, see through all these things right now. So somehow we just, talk about the rotations and how the players are going to be playing. This was the first casualty that actually just happened, right? And after that, Team Zarar, they would want to move just a bit onto the back end side. Not because that they don't want a part of this fight, but because they want to just, stay a bit longer. Maybe get some kill points, that's for sure. But every team wants to survive longer because after this game, whatever position you're holding, that constitutes to your share of the prize pool as well. From $29,200, you are going to be getting an amount of share.
Exactly.
And that amount of share is what will be your reflection of what you did overall in this PMCO.
Exactly, and that is up for grabs, basically. I mean,
Same circle again.
Same circle indeed, and that again moves on down towards those exact same roads, and that could very well lead the conversation either towards Yasnaya Poliya. That, of course, we're going to have to wait and see. But for now, talking about early contestations, we, of course, do have the Grounders as well as Zarar in that region. But alongside that is going to be Stalwart Flex. And Stalwart are right next to them. As that rotation comes in from the side of TG or Zarar, it is going to be troublesome because Stalwart is going to be destructive. They are, of course, going to get that information and convert those into kill points. That is going to, well, again, cement their approach onto that second position.
Talk about Team Bablu, talk about Magnus, talk about Star, right? StarXOPS, like Severnese area, outside the circle, but on the northern side of the zone. So these teams can, just rotate from either Rozhok or backside of Yasnaya Polyana, get out in that area, hold the compounds of Yasnaya, but, holding the compounds and taking fight, again, two different things. Talk about Novorepnoy, like those areas, if we can see three teams. Stalwart has moved away from military base and they can contest the bridge if they want to, like if they feel like something might just happen onto that area. That's one thing. Talk about FS and NFP. They can take a fight while moving inside the circle. Only few teams that are good inside circle is F4 and TUF. F4, brilliant thing is they always go to Lipovka and they get the full circle for themselves, and that
always,
yeah, that's gonna, because for the other teams, talk about this. 3 minutes is the timing that you just get for your loot and all. But F4, they get more time because they are already inside the circle. Whilst the other teams are busy moving and all those things, they are busy planning their strategies.
Absolutely. Every single time, F4 seems to be knowing exactly what to expect from the circle. But right here, this push I am loving from the side of Zarar. The setup, rather, not the push. The setup that Zarar has is looking phenomenal because Zigzag is right here, but Professor is on a flanking angle towards the other side of the road, as we see on the minimap. And that could be all-out war for the side of the Grounders because the Grounders still have no clue where did this team go. On the other side, of course, you talk about Myth. Myth is also right across there over the ledge, and this could be annihilation for the Grounders in just a perfectly timed push. But eventually, who will make that first peak? Who will get that information? As of now, Zarar have all the information. Grounders, none till now.
As of now, yeah, none. We just don't want to talk about this one. But now, as we just look forward with all the things just moving up as of now, we'll have to see how this fight is going to happen because Zigzag, he has a good angle for taking up a backstab onto Abul. If Abul just moves out in that area, he spots one. Myth is out there. Well. Myth goes down. Professor still, just out in this area. And by the looks of it, Zigzag's location is also compromised. And look at TG. They are taking up a good fight, and that too is right now just, seeming like it that the players of Zarar, yeah, they are trying, but every strategy is falling on to the other side. Look at this, the throwable was used, but the throwable actually did just, fall down, and Zigzag went down as well. Zarar Professor is last one surviving, spots on one, takes him down, goes for the finish. The desperation finish just arrives right now, and he does not have a helmet though, so one shot to the head can actually end his game and the team's game altogether.
Exactly. Well, at least Professor can be finding comfort in the kill that is going to help him with 1 point, and that's going to be good. But for the side of TG, wow, I mean, Zarar had all the information. Zigzag ought to have relayed it towards Myth. But somewhere along the line, TG was just well-equipped and well-prepared to be able to retaliate, and that's exactly what they did, even though they were walking in blind, and Zarar had all the information. But eventually, again, now Professor has given away his information, has not been able to get that working in his favor, and as he brings himself across, he is going to go down, and Zarar is the first team being sent back into the lobby with 1 point.
Well, this did happen out in this one, but talk about this. Stalwart, I think the players have heard the gunshots.
Oh, yes.
You can see the players just moving on to this direction. I mean, TG, they did enjoy those 4 kills, but did anyone see Crypto just arriving pretty close to them?
Absolutely, and with that you move towards TUF right now. Oh yes, in the kill feed we can clearly see that Crypto has moved on along towards the side of TG as TG were out in the open making that rotation. Shaptar has already been knocked. Honey is going to be able to revive him, but it is going to be Blade, Reviews and Crypto. The way Stalwart has moved in across this push, it could very well be annihilation for the side of the Grounders, but again we will have to see because this is a perfect setup from the side of Stalwart and a perfect utility being utilized, but Shaptar has been revived and will be walking away for now.
Well, Stalwart, they are just out here, but look at this, Honey. His location is compromised. He's inside that area. How long can he stay safe? One good grenade can end a lot of things. He cannot go out. Well, he did try. He went down. Shapatar still surviving, but for how long can Shapatar take this fight? As he will be taken down. And so early, so much. You can see teams just going out, and no Repnoi was indeed the area that took two teams with itself.
Boy, oh boy, the Grounders being the second team being sent back into the lobby. Stalwart confirming themselves that perfect points, and with that we are looking at FreeStyle right here, and Tyrant was the one who was bringing in a little bit of damage towards the side of burst damage rather towards the side of NFP, but will that be converted into a kill? NFP Ash is the one who seems to be at the receiving end, and now that is thanks to H2E, so we know that. Wow, well GG indeed. That kill moves on towards the side of H2E, and H2E walk away with that one.
Yeah, they do have, but I think he needs to put up a first hit. That's what he's doing up right now. And F4 onto the back inside. You can see the players of F4, Voltrix and Jahan have been taken down and finished straight away. Yeah, you know your competitions. You gotta take him out. Well, Khatir, low on HP. What will this grenade do the damage? That's my question. I mean, it was just on that area, but the Molotov will surely do the damage. The Molly was just out there. Oh, it went onto the outskirts area. Now the third time. Will third time be the charm as the grenade has been lofted in a brilliant way, and the damage did happen. 11 teams alive.
Boy, oh boy, that was just perfectly timed nade, and doing so has resulted H2E walking away with 3 points right off the bat. It's just 10 minutes in the game. We are looking at another team being annihilated and eliminated. That is going to be NFP and H2E now at the crossroads with FS. H2E Hucker is the one who has received a lot of damage, and Ati has also been knocked. So 2 players knocked for the side of H2E. They've got 3 kills. They need to be able to either revive or retaliate this push coming in from the side of FreeStyle, and FreeStyle is going to be a 4-man army as of now, and F4 is also amongst this mix.
Yeah, so many teams just going out in this area. But look at this, H2E, the players are moving up forward. But how long can they just take this fight against FS? Esposito goes down right now, but Ati has been taken down. So many fights just in one amalgamation is one thing that is happening. H2E, from the back end side, you could just see that FS takes a few kills. I mean, that was brilliant. But then talking about it, Regicide was the one to end everything in this area, and the teams are going to be enjoying their kills. But now, Regicide versus FS. The show goes on.
The shows definitely must go on, and in all of that, we now move on to another fight which is being brewing up between R3D, and with that, Team F4. I was just about to point out that Team F4 was still there between H2E, but eventually it is the perfect end for F4. Sadly not, but it's okay because again they've got a lot of points for them and they've got a humongous lead. But now as you move on towards this fight, you're looking at Magnus going against R3D. Virus Joker, they have themselves set up pretty perfectly, and they have Noids being bought out, but there was no damage done. No damage dealt whatsoever at all. But Magnus, they are right now slowly moving on across to be able to convert this into their favor. But how exactly will it be panned out? Because again, there are 2 players that we're looking at. That are going to be Adil and StarXOPS, whereas the other 2 players from Magnus are taking a flank and back end approach. Now, based on that approach, will Adil and StarXOPS be able to convert this into a perfect push, or will there be knocks? Because the way they are pushing on along, they are being very systematic, slowly and steadily trying to find information, but R3D not wanting to give any information away. Very quiet, and Virus right next to him, but Adil still not aware of his position.
Well, yes, the position, obviously the areas for the players, but right now, as you can see, R3D, they have a good area. Magnus, they are trying, but Adil, that was a good effort from that individual. Now, StarXOPS is the one surviving, and you know that he can actually just, change the momentum of the game in his favor, but one individual taking fight against the other lads might be difficult. But look at this, he spots on Enemies, he spots on Shaw as well. He tries to take him down, but no. Now comes the time, they'll go for the revive. That's brilliant. I mean, so many fights already. 13 minutes and we are down to 8 teams.
Boy, oh boy. I mean, talk about all-out war, going all-out YOLO play.
Well, Regicide's taking fight with FS. And yes, exactly. This is one thing that I was going to talk about. Another fight happening already.
Wow, this is just perfect. I mean, that's what, I mean, you called it, Ocean, that this time around we're going to be looking at in the final game all the time.
Whoa.
Fights, and that is exactly what's happening, where indeed Johnny is the one who seems to be dishing out damage to the side of NES, that's not Esports. On the other side, on the receiving end, they've already received one knock, but eventually, as you move on along, FreeStyle is also in another battle altogether of their own, where indeed you've got Regicide right next to them. This is all-out annihilation. NES right there, FS right there, and right on top of them is going to be not Esports as well, and this is going to be a little bit of trouble for the side of course, FS, because FS is in between all of this ruckus, and that could be troublesome. All they can do is build up those smoke walls, but for how long? There is no cover for them.
I mean, talk about this. I mean, do we need to predict even the final circle? Because the fights are with a lot of aggression. I mean, talk about this one. Regicide, Psych, and Johnny are on one side there. I think Johnny did spot Zulka. All right, so Zulka is just moving on to the other side. This was the aggression that actually I wanted to see from all the teams. Obviously, it's time to go YOLO. That's what the teams are doing. This thing right now. That, you know, if you spot someone, just take him down. Try to take him down. That's one of the most brilliant things. But this is the aggression that I wanted from these teams, and this is brilliant. I'm pretty sure the audience would be loving the way the fights are happening. You see someone, you spot him down, you rush there, and you take 4 kills. But you have to be aware, because some other team actually just comes down to your area. So many fights just coming up all together. This is brilliant.
This is absolutely perfect. But with that, it is FS who are going to be taking an exit and rushing out of that situation. So that is, well, for the time being, they have been able to keep themselves alive. And that's only 2 players that are surviving for the side of course, FS. But on this side, you move on towards Bablu's team. Now, Bablu's team is also making that rotation and going to be entering this exact same area where we are already looking at so many teams wanting to contest. Which side is this going to go? Of course, right now you're looking at FS getting themselves the control of this Pareto Hill, but eventually, when you talk about control, there's just no control from any of the teams, because every single way you look, there is fight. Every single direction that you turn, there are kills.
I mean, you can see like 15, 30 seconds are out right now. The circle moving on to the sides of Pareto Hill and to the other directions. That's where the zone is right now. FS, these are 2 lads out here. You can see from Pochinki to Pareto Hill, that's going to be an open circle for sure. And I mean, we have seen these kind of circles on the last time I saw this in PMWL's last match, when the zone was actually out in the open on the backside of Pochinki, and this is kind of the same circle. So Stalwart, look at them, making up a really good rotation just to stay inside the circle. Plus, you know, it's important for the teams like Stalwart and R3D, like, you know, going for the 3rd position, 2nd position, all those things. It kind of matters.
That is so true, because again, I mean, Stalwart is looking very comfortable on that 2nd spot, but they will need to concrete that, cement that, and for that, of course, they are in the circle, and now all they'll have to do is maintain that position. On the other side, of course, TUF is what we're looking at. That is making an interesting rotation, but they have no idea R3G is going to be waiting for them. So is Stalwart Flex from the looks of it, but Bablu has made themselves enter this entire region.
Imagine if TUF actually just goes for an all-around rotation, enters from the sides of Pochinki's direction, like and enters from the other direction. That's going to be like one of the longest rotations. As you can see, TUF players still moving on from the sides. R3D, meanwhile, is trying to get inside the circle as well. This creates problems for NES, as Hammer is acting like a scout for the team, and he is actually just, you know, moving forward alongside Snow. But they have to make sure, exactly, that FS is pretty close to him and Bablu as well.
Exactly, and FS is on top of that hill, so that is going to be a little bit of trouble, and that's exactly what has happened, where indeed FS has brought in control, and NES's Hammer has already been knocked, and that kill will be confirmed with that. 5 kills to this team, 2 already confirmed for Zulker, and now NES will have to, well, reevaluate their push and their position.
Talk about respect in Zulka, like these players are just out here. But the most important thing is these 2 players are holding this hill for themselves. I mean, 2 versus the lobby, it sounds good, but you know, it's always good to have another helping hand, like 3 players or maybe the whole squad surviving, things like that. But still, you can see the survival status out here. Regicide, R3D, Stalwart, TUF, Bablu. Talk about North Esports, StarXOPS, and FreeStyle, and fights are happening everywhere. FS Respect was taken down. Zulka is the last one surviving as of now, and by the looks of it, NES wants to rush, but they don't want to give away everything as of now.
Exactly, and on the other side of this hill is of course going to be StarX as well, which is a 3-man army that is also wanting to push on against the side of FS. For now, they are keeping very quiet, but NES has no idea that as soon as they get control of this hill, there will be Bablu on one end, there will be StarX on the other end, and move on towards Stalwart. They are just in perfect control.
Well, Regicide, you can see the team out there. Well, Johnny goes down, Syke is just surviving out there. Joker's all on that location as well. But for how long can they take the fight? Meanwhile, Joker knocks and finishes out a player from the side of Stalwart. As you just saw in the situation, they are left with a 3-man squad, and they're moving just a bit onto the back-end side, as they know this fight, if they want to take this fight, they have to be just, on their feet with the thinking capability and with the strategies as Regicide. They are also giving it as a tough fight. Crypto probably creating a flank angle from the other direction. Blade and Uzum are just out here. Insane will have to look forward to the Crypto's direction.
Absolutely, and for that, we are actually looking at that perfect flank angle coming in, and Insane will have to be careful. But on the other side, of course, when it comes to Stalwart's perfect angle approach as well, they need to be a little careful because there is a team right behind them, and that, I think, was TUF. Now, talking about flank angles, yes, flank angles certainly work in your favor, but if you're in the open and another team does end up noticing that, then that flank angle could very well be your fall down. But again, we shall have to wait and see if TUF get that information or not. But for now, looking at the information, it is certainly going to be Stalwart that are going to be able to dominate. But with that, Circle taking another shift altogether and running away from all these teams. But FS still surviving right now. They have taken a knock. Zulkar is the man who is right now surviving. And on the other side, of course, Respect wanting to get that revival. Smoke is what is helping them for now. But how long?
Oh, look at this. And yes, eventually he goes down right now. Snow is still surviving out there. And he's trying to take the players. And he's on low HP. Pretty low HP right now, and this kind of becomes a troublesome situation. 12 seconds on the clock, you got to move inside the circle, 200 meters, 5th zone is going to bite you a lot, and Bablu's mean has been spotted down, but well, Team Bablu, they're looking pretty good, and North Esports gets eliminated. Now comes the time for revivals, and after that, the movement. And talking about the movements, FS is pretty close to the players.
FS certainly is, and FreeStyle just making it a perfect turnover wins for themselves. Are going to be able to get out of there. Always able to keep themselves strong and somehow get the rotation working in their favor. That is a beautiful turnover wins for FS. But talk about Stalwart. I mean, they did take up a fight against R3D, but eventually they did have to backfight a little bit because they wanted a bit more control of the circle as of now. And talking about R3D itself, you're looking at all 3 players that are going to be moving on along into that vehicle, and that could have been troublesome.
Well, Uzum just surviving out here, has 8 bullets, will need to reload as of now, and will be doing that after popping up a first hit. And obviously he's like 20 meters away from the circle, will be just, reaching. But look at StarXOPS, MK still surviving, Fury and Jin have been taken down. They need to go for the revive, but for how long can, the players just stay out there, because the push might just arrive. Team Bablu, they do have only 2 kills, but they are looking pretty strong. They did lose Zibian as well in the situation, but MK just moving up forward for the revival, and now the grenades are being thrown down onto that location, which is good. But now I just want to see, can the revive happen? Like, talking about MK, it's a really high pressure situation for that individual. Absolutely. He is, just think about it, he's between 2 teams and he's giving up a revive right now.
He's trying to, that's for sure, but again, it was only Smoke that was helping him. But eventually, of course, it is going to be a kill, and that kill will go on towards Stalwart, and Stalwart have taken that domination, but doing so have also given away information towards the side of Bablu. Now, Bablu would have actually seen it in the kill feed itself that there is another team right across the board, and FS, Respect, once again down.
He did go down. Zulkar is just out there, needs to go for the revive. But in these situations, when it's an open circle, and that too in the final moments, it kind of becomes tricky. Meanwhile, Short takes on Pika, and Team Bablu is now 2-man squad. They obviously can go for the revive onto the 3rd person, but again, the tricky things, the tricky situations, the mind-bending strategies. Zulkar can spot Wolf out there actually.
But Wolf seems to be busy with another fight altogether that he wants to take on. But along with that, we move on towards the conversation of Stalwart. Well, they are looking pretty okay for now, because they have perfect control of that moment. And FreeStyle, Zulkar is the one who was able to control that fight in his favor, and Wolf goes down now. But again, along with that, he's not the only one-man army on this hill. There is, of course, Stalwart Flex, and that is what Stalwart Flex is here for. They are here for those third parties. They are here to get those points, and with that, doing so has resulted in Crypto bringing in another point, and perhaps it will be another knock as well, because Crypto is in control of not only FS's position, but also Bablu's position.
Well, FS did go down, and by the looks of it, Crypto still thinks that there's going to be someone out there, or probably he was giving out the location that the player did go down onto that direction, like something, but they know the smoke was just popped around that area. Bablu's Zameen surviving. Oh, Wolf goes down. That was brilliant by the players. Just, the shots that actually connected and did do a lot of damage. Now, Crypto just trying to just, randomly take a few shots, and the best part is, Crypto, it's not like he's, just emptying the mag. He's just taking one shot, just trying to find where the damage marker just comes on, and then he can just, move forward with everything. That's brilliant by Stalwart players, Crypto especially. And now, judging by everything, Stalwart might want to win this match.
Absolutely, they will want to, and they are in proper control to be able to contest that. But eventually, along with that, there are other teams like, for example, R3D as well, who will want to bring this into their favor because they are a 4-man strong army as of now and are in good control of the circle. Talking about Bablu, though, they have not been looking a-okay for now, because as they moved on into these final moments, their team has been caught off guard by so many other teams, and eventually, even though Bablu were able to bring in points towards them, bring in kills towards them, eventually now it is, from the looks of it, only a 1-man army for Bablu.
Definitely is, but right now you can see R3D, the players are still just out there at the edge of the circle for themselves, and now Stalwart's players are just moving up forward. 8 kills for themselves. How many more can they actually just, get up from this area? I think they spotted on the players of Regicide onto the back-end side, and Bablu's Zameen still surviving, just still trying to make it inside the circle. It's going to be difficult as his HP is low, and he goes down, and Crypto is the one taking that kill, as you just saw. TUF, alright, Psych does take down 1, and Joker went down by that vehicle damage, as you just saw, and Joker's just out there. He needs a heal, he needs a revive right now. Insane from the back end side can actually backstab the players of TUF. Look at him, just slithering the way out. Spots down the players, takes him down, takes 2 down. That was brilliant. Thor surviving, but for how long can Thor survive? Another spray can take him down, but no, he gets spotted down from the back end side. Blade takes him down, and Blade knows how to finish the job.
Exactly. Stalwart, the way they bring themselves into these third parties are just phenomenal. R3D right here trying to probably confirm those kills, and that's exactly what he's going to try and do. And that is just working in his favor beautifully, where Virus has been the one that has eliminated Team TUF and sent them back into the lobby with only 2 teams remaining now.
R3D and Stalwart, this game is important for both the teams. Uzum has an AWM. Are we going to see the final circle AWM action, something like that? Like, you never know, it's a 3v4 situation. Uzum, he still has it. Like, is he going to use it? Is he going to go YOLO in the final moment? Well, Crypto is pretty much onto the forward side against the opponents, and he can spot down 1 player. Talking about Virus, you know what he did in the last game of Erangel yesterday. Today, he might just try and do the same thing. He had so many kills yesterday, and today, they can try for it once again. The numbers advantage is with R3D. Look at the smokes, look at the walls of smokes that they have created for themselves. But Crypto, can he not just, shoot the right areas through the walls, to the smoke walls, to take the players down? Because I'm still trying to survive, still trying to see someone. But the circle is with Stalwart. Look at them creating the wall right at the edge of the circle.
Absolutely. It's Stalwart. They are playing this to perfection, no question about it. Even though it's a 3-man strong squad, they are just playing it and gunning it for this is going to be their game. But eventually, again, it is R3D that they're going up against, and both these teams need these points, because now, as the smoke wall dissipates, R3D Virus utilizing the position and brings down Crypto. It is now a 4v2 situation.
It is a 4v2 situation out in this one, and you saw Blade was stunned for the moment because the stun grenade landed right next to him at that moment, though. But well, talking about this one, Blade, the shots, the damage is being done on him because of Molotov. And talking about this one, Uzum is still surviving. For how long can this if one individual survive? R3D, are they going to win this? Look at this, they have 8 kills. Make it more, as R3D actually wins the final game of PMCO Pakistan Regional Finals.
And with that, doing so, they are the third team. Whoa,
well, we know the third team already. We know the first team already. I agree.
Yep, and we know the second one perhaps as well. That was, of course, Stalwart. But boy, oh boy, what a wonderful turn of events this has been. I mean, this is the kind of gameplay till the end moment. You do not know what to expect, and this game was just like all-out war.
Wow, this game was incredible the way it was, and right from the beginning, exactly, all-out war,
right?
You spot someone, you go finish the entire squad.
Wow.
That's one thing that was happening.
Yep, every single time. And with that, of course, I mean, there needs to be so many MVPs throughout this game. But that one man who will be getting that MVP is going to be Uzum.
Well, Uzum with 4 kills, 841 damage, 2 assists, 71 healing done. Obviously, no time to heal in these kind of battles, right? You just got to go for the kills, for the damage, for everything out in this one. You got to go all in, and Uzum, he was ready. Plus, the guy in the final moment, you saw he had an AWM as well in his hands. Like, I want to see a quick scope. I would have loved that.
Absolutely, that was just beautiful play coming in from this lad, and eventually, of course, he's most deserving of that MVP spot. But move on to top players. You've got Regicide in there. You've, of course, got Stalwart in there. Wow, well actually you've got 3 players from Stalwart right there.
Yeah. 2 kills, 776 damage. Talk about the numbers that were just, going on. And obviously, the game lasted till 25 minutes. Obviously, we thought it might just end early, but it still took its time. That's good. That's good for the players because these teams, these players, they knew what was at stake. Second position, third, everything was at stake at that moment.
And with that, 10 kills walking away with R3D and 25 points. They're going to be happy because that is going to be the 3rd team on that leaderboard overall ranking. That is of course going to be representing Pakistan. Stalwart Flex walking away with 11 kills and 23 points, and Regicide were close yet so far.
They were close yet so far. Talking about the other teams, you can see StarXOPS on 9th, North Esports on 10th, F4 on 11th, but still, they were looking really good for themselves. Zarar Esports, Magnus and NFPSKY. These were the teams out here, but this was all about match ranking. We'll be seeing the damage graph as well. I want to see, was it even because so many teams did so many wipes and all. So it was good. It was actually good because if you talk about Zarar, they got 1 kill but still 400 damage. That was a decent number for the players.
Absolutely. And talk about Stalwart. I mean, they were just flexing it through and through with 21-16 damage, 11 kills dished out from Stalwart. This was beautiful turnover wins for this team.
That was indeed a good even. As you can see, Regicide has 19-18 and 15-41 for R3D, but Stalwart Flex, 2116. I mean, that's a Comet's name as well. I still remember Comet Smith Levy Turtle or something. It's 2116 is its code name. But well, talking about all the fights and all that happened, quite a lot of damage was done, and quite a lot of good movements because every movement had its own fight in itself.
Every single one did. And again, with that, let's move on with the Oppo moments. Right off the bat, this is where we saw Zarar Pleader taking a knock, but eventually it was, of course, TG that were able to walk away.
Okay, well, if we just talk about this one, you saw teams they tried to go for the fight. It did not work out in their favor initially, but eventually they tried, and even a single kill kind of matters, and that was one thing that has happened. Teams draw Professor, he went down after this one, but then as soon as you thought everything was good, the rush did actually happen on them.
Exactly, that was Stalwart that brought in TG back into the lobby. But eventually, as you move on along, I mean, this is just 10 minutes in, and you're looking at only 11 teams in the lobby. Whichever side you looked at, there were just kills coming in right off the bat. And eventually, of course, it was FreeStyle right there taking over H2E. But right here, Magnus's approach also fanned out not in their favor, rather R3D, and the way they were held down that compound was beautiful to be able to witness.
Yeah, it was like pretty good the way it was. But R3G, the team was just in a bit of trouble. But talking about FS, they held this area beautifully. If we just talk about this one, 2 players surviving and they survived for good. They held this area for themselves, but then slowly and slowly when things started turning bad, it actually did, just go into an upside down. And TUF, this fight was impressive. Look at this. 1 spray, 2 players down. He did try to take him down, but well, he was spotted from the other off angle, and he did go down as before he could even, just think about, ending them. But Virus did finish the job.
Exactly. I mean, Ocean, talk about bad to worse, worse to hell is what the situation was for so many teams in this game. It was just all-out war, and again, with that was what was important. That is what was required from these teams, and with that, having done so beautifully, R3D's card is on our screens with Joker 29 kills.
29 kills, Virus 25 kills, Short 20 and Anubis 18. Talk about the damage stats. Look at Anubis' damage, 4,000 plus. Shaw had good kills and a good survival time for himself. Talking about Virus and Joker, 6,000 for Joker the damage amount, and Virus 5,653. So every player in this team was perfectly balanced if you want to talk about this one.
Absolutely. Again, this is a proper team just bringing in that synergistic plays, just bringing in that perfect conversations and synergy working in your favor, and that is just beautiful to be able to see from this team. But with that, now we move on to the overall rankings, and yes indeed, it is Team F4 finishing with 250 points, absolutely perfect dominating play. Stalwart 212 and R3D 204.
204. These are your 3 teams that are moving on forward for PMPL Season 3 of South Asia. TUF, look at this. 204, 189. The difference was there.
Yes.
If we just talk about this. So top 3 teams that were here, they wanted to cement themselves with everything. Magnus Esports was out here. FreeStyle, they were at 166. Regicide, 158. NFPSKY, 148. These are your top 8 teams right now, but only 3 get to move forward. One good thing, talk about the Stalwart Flex, 109 points, R3D 109 points, but TUF 119. They were playing much more on the placement point department, and had they had a bit more kills, obviously it could have been, even better for the team.
Exactly, and again, I mean, that is just beautiful turn of events for this team because TUF were live for the longest time in that. And again, I mean, talk about Stalwart Flex, the way they played that final game, the way they came on and got away with 12 placement points right there, right? That is what that 212 is what coming out from.
Yeah.
Because again, had they not been on that second position, it might have been a tricky affair.
Exactly, but moving up forward, this is your 9-14 H2V 134, Team Bablu 131, North Esports 123, Grounders 91, Zarar Esports 82, StarXOPS 62. Some of these teams, I would say all of these teams that actually played out here, they impressed us good in one game, in two games, in a few games, like some 1v3s, some important 1v3s that were just out there, some almost 1v3s, and all those moments were incredible, all those games were incredible. But at the end, the show goes on, some teams will be moving up forward, whilst the other ones, yeah, they can support those teams because that's also important. They can see and learn from the mistakes that were made out here, because there were a few mistakes, there were a few good moments. So all these things happen, but at the end, it was an incredible event.
It certainly was, no conversation about it, because again, right off the bat, you talk about from group stages all the way till now, we've had so many wonderful plays. But now, as we move this conversation, let's have a look at Team F4. That is, of course, going to be on top, followed by Stalwart. And what sort of a controlled aggression did we see from these teams?
3 chicken winners versus 1. That is the difference of 250 and 212.
Yep.
Because if you talk about the kills, it's a 7 points difference in the kill department. 110, 103. But overall points was because of one thing, that F4 were consistent throughout. The players were incredible. Talk about Khan. Obviously, an impressive IGL if I want to talk about this one. Wolverine, I still remember his AWM shots. Those were some impressive shots. And so, the players were totally stacked. Stalwart Flex. Talk about this team. Crypto, incredible player when you talk about the moments. Blade as well. So many players, so many moments. They have just arrived from these two teams. It just shows good.
It shows just domination into the lobby from these teams. And again, I mean, this is just beautiful turnover events indeed, where you go back to the first day of the regional finals itself, where Stalwart Flex were just looking at the lobby teams. They were themselves getting knocked at 16th position. But you move on just to the next day, and Stalwart Flex just came online, and the way they did was just beautiful. And now it's turned into domination from this team. As you can see, Crypto with 37 kills.
Yeah, 37 kills. Adil was out there, 35. 2 kills shot though. But if you talk about the damage was good with Adil. Obviously, he was the one. If you talk about Magnus, he was the one yesterday's last game as well, just changing the momentum into his shape and everything. That was incredible. F4 Destroyer was out here with 29 kills, and R3D Joker 29 kills for this individual as well. Talk about this: 6176 and 6124. The damage stats were pretty close between Destroyer and Joker. That's one thing. Otherwise, Joker had a higher survival time.
Exactly.
Highest of the 4 players.
Of all of them, absolutely. And that is just beautiful play, of course. But dude, this has been wonderful turnover wins. I mean, the way every single team, right off from the group stages up until now, the kind of domination that these teams have showcased has been just entertaining down to the core. Every single game.
It has been. It definitely has been incredible. And talking about all the teams that have been here, right? Starting the journey from 32 teams, right? It has been a festival.
It has been a festival indeed. And with that, we've got these final 3 teams that will be moving on to represent your region. With that, thank you guys so very much for tuning in. We are going to go on a short break, so to say, because after all, it is the next time that we'll see you, it will be PMPL Season 3.
Let's get it.